have a conversation about. Because I
I'll
thought we
be
were
back
talking
in
about
a few
biology.
days.
And
I'll
I'm
be
sorry.
back in
Maybe
a few
that's.
days. Just
You'll
kick
be
me.
back in 2 days.
I said I'll be back in a few days.
I don't
Just kick me.
understand.
What?
Why are
You don't
Did
understand.
Did
I
I
will be
say
back
something
in a
wrong?
few days. You go live pretty much every day. I'll be back in a few days. That's what I'm saying.
The random
Okay, bye,
leave?
Jay.
Like, okay, bye.
Hey, Jay, I'm sorry if I said something wrong. Did I say anything wrong? Did I say anything that was rude? What did I say that was rude? Well, I called you a zesty Mexican.
Oh!
Well, yeah, but you always do that.
Yeah, you
Hey,
you
Kinder.
spoke facts, you know, that's pretty insulting to people. So.
Yeah, yes, Alyssa. Did you notice something that I said that maybe made her upset?
Oh, no, I didn't actually. I just wanted to give you a heads up with your permission. I am going live on YouTube right now as well. Are you okay if I double stream
Awesome,
this
thanks.
on YouTube?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome.
Cool
Thanks.
beans. All right, so let's bring up the other two guests that have been waiting, or not. I guess only one of them. Christian wants to come back up. All right, sorry, Christian. I had to drop you because I got tired of the interrupting.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I thought so. What? What do you mean black? What do you mean you thought so? What? What did I do? So dramatic. What? So dramatic? I said, no, I don't think.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome YouTube. This is one of my very first YouTube lives. Thank you for being here. I just a little quick introduction as to who it is that I am. I am Alyssa. I do transgender advocacy and fight for transgender rights. And we do this through science, medicine, and human lives. So, with that being said, I am not a medical professional, just someone who is very, very well read. I am currently right now in the middle of a TikTok live on Mr. Kinder Potato's panel, which is a fantastic live creator. And we're going to be doing debates to help better people's education and understanding in regards to transgender topics, of which I think is really, really, really important right now. With that being said, stay tuned. We will be live streaming as long as possible, and hopefully y'all enjoy, and let's get a move on with the content.
Oh, that is true though. They do eat Jesus every Sunday.
That's called fucking celestial cannibalism.
Yeah, oh wait, I think I get the joke. Wait, is that supposed to be like a joke?
Amazing name.
Because, like, celestial and, like, I guess Jesus is supposed to be like a celestial
You
in
see,
some way.
I just that you know that's the reason why I felt like That's why I always thought like all Christians are secretly a little gay because they're always eating another man's meat.
Oh, clock that
Wait,
down.
how can it be cannibalism if God isn't human?
Because apparently
Because it's
Jesus
Jesus.
is.
Hmm.
Then wouldn't it just be regular cannibalism and not celestial cannibalism?
Nah, because he's part of a deity. Well, he's an avatar of a deity, I'd assume.
Well, it's stupid.
Well, on the bright side, if there's gonna be any, if you're gonna take any man's meat, at least you're taking somebody who's got celestial power.
Take mine.
Right.
Jesus is God, but God is his father.
What if just no religion?
What if I'm everyone's father? How about that?
Dad? No, you told me not to call you daddy, so I can't call you that anymore.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh wow.
do people realize that Christianity has pagan themes? No, they don't know that. I feel like he's in. Oh wait, oh my goodness, the thing's moving. I feel like he's in your heart. You shouldn't have to eat the bread and drink wine. But that's the fun part. Are you kidding me? Everybody loves the drinking wine part. That's the reason why people go to church is so they can have an excuse to be like, hey, I can drink some wine.
Paint the nose.
Hinder, what you been? How's you been, dude? I'm doing good. LMAO. I actually I shit you not. I had a friend in communion. He he would purposely go in the line like 2 times just to get another thing of bread and of
Those birds are so stale.
no, the one that we went to when we were younger, they actually had it was literally like I don't know if it was like a bread chip or if it was like a cookie, but it actually tasted actually pretty good. It was like a buttery cookie type thing. And
Wait, I swear the one I tried was literally stale, please.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, not this one was like a a really really thin buttery cookie thing, and of course it was some wine. And he's like, why would I not go back up and get another one of those and another sip
Sorry
of
guys,
wine?
y'all heard my toy on the phone. My
What the
bad.
fuck?
Wait, was it only at wait, David, you're only at a level 2?
Come on, David.
What are you talking about? Level 2 what?
Oh, I know love senses have levels, and I that sounded like mine when mine hits level 2.
Oh! Oh my
Oh,
god! The way I
I feel uncomfortable with this
please, I thought you were
conversation.
talking about something else, please.
I'm uncomfortable with this conversation. I need an adult.
I needed an adult is wild. All right, let's see. You can buy communion wafers in bulk on Amazon. Dude, that's what we should do. We should have the the church of the Transferians or whatever the heck it's called. And then like we should like just like have drag queens like handing out the communion wafers as people come in. It'd be great.
Oh, people will be losing their minds with that, like actually.
I would pay to see it.
Like I would love to see
LMAO.
it just to rage bait, honestly. Just for the rage bait for real.
Let's see here. There's anybody in the Oh, we got somebody. No, they're not. Hey Val, want to come up and have a conversation? We've been having friendly conversations all day today, actually. I don't think so far we haven't had that many ops that have come up here that have been bad, and we've had a lot of good conversations. So, come on up. You can ask them. I cracked the whip pretty hard on my moderators.
Wait a minute.
Not on me, because I never do anything wrong.
Hey Val.
Rawr.
I'm here.
Hi Val. Welcome up.
Hi.
Nice. I love having you up here. Can I get your age just for TikTok purposes?
Sure. 50.
Beautiful. All right. So you said that they're not. Can I get your reasoning as to why?
Sure. Trans women are trans women. That's it.
Okay.
Because they're
Ma'am,
trying to
can
be
I-
women. Hold on. They're trying to be women, right? That's why they're transitioning to women, but biologically they were not women to begin with. They're transitioning to be a woman. Doesn't mean that they understand what us women have had to go through to get where we're at. And I'm 50, so I'm old school. So I'm going to tell you that right now. I will have a friendly conversation, but I would love somebody to change my mind.
Sure. So, all right, I see what you had to say here. So, I think when you say they're not biologically women, are you referring to like the sexes of female, and you're saying that they're male?
Yes.
Just so we're clear. Okay.
Can I make my point on that? Because at the end of the
Sure
day,
can.
when we're looking at everything from our history, we're digging up bodies, we're finding out who we were, all that fun stuff. At the end of the day, no matter what we identified as, guess what they're gonna know? You're the male or female.
That was Bones.
Yep.
That's it.
Mm,
That's it. So identifying doesn't mean
Sorry,
I
my
don't
toy went
respect
off
the
again.
people. I don't. It's not that I don't respect people who identify as a woman. I do. You can identify whoever and however you want to be. I respect that. The problem that I have with the whole issue that are coming up today, because I'm 50 and I'm old school, and I've had to go through fights and battles that men have never had to go through. So until somebody can understand that women's rights and the fact that we are women, the fact that we bleed, the fact that we've gone through all the issues that we go through, I am so sorry, and I'm sorry if I offend somebody, but a man will never understand what that is, no matter if they're
Ma'am,
transitioning or not.
ma'am, please. Okay, I've heard what you had to say, and I know you're probably not trying to be offensive, but you're presupposing a lot of things here, and we haven't even got into the conversation. So let's see. Are you willing to clear your mind and clear your biases here, and we can start from an
Always.
objective place? Beautiful. I love that. So let's do that. Let's put our feelings at the door. We'll talk facts over feelings. Let's agree to be courteous to one another. Let each other finish sentences, and then of course, we can agree that there's only two sexes in the human species, male and female. Did I lag out?
No, you're
No.
fine.
No, I'm sorry. I was muting myself. You're asking me a direct question. Is there only two sexes, male and female? You're asking. I absolutely agree. There's
No, no,
only
no.
two
That wasn't.
sexes.
That,
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, I was gonna say
trying to be
that was
respectful.
that was more of a state. Yeah,
Okay.
that was more of a statement. Like, yeah, there's only two sexes, right?
That is your statement. I agree with you.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, great. So then, how about we start here? Well, how do we define a woman? Would you say that a woman is an adult human female?
Depends on how you define that. Adult human female means that they were born, their sex was female at birth. If that's what you're,
Yes.
then yes, I agree with you.
No.
Okay, great. You wanted to ask a question, Mama?
No, did you catch what she said?
No, I didn't. What'd you say?
Could you repeat what you define female? Kind of real fast. No.
If you're saying that a woman is an adult human female that was born a female, then yes, I agree with you.
Oh, that is born a female. Okay, I get you. So do you know how we categorize female at birth?
Enlighten me.
Yeah, we're just going to be taking a look at the genitalia. So if they have the presence of a phallus at birth, we write them down as male. When I say we, the doctors, that they assign them male based on the presence of a phallus. If they don't have a phallus, they instead have what looks to be a vulva, they'll write them down as female. That's pretty much what we do at determination of birth when the kid is born. The only way we would actually do more testing is if there was other health complications or there was a reason to do it. But most of the time, we're not testing for other things. We're just literally just looking at genitalia. Do we agree so far?
No, not really, but I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Well, if we hit our first point of contention, then let's talk about this issue. So, do you think that doctors are looking at more than just genitalia to determine sex at birth?
So, what determines a person's sex is what kind of chromosomes and genes that they have.
Okay, ma'am, that wasn't the argument, though. That's not what I stated. I said that at birth, doctors are determining their sex based off of genitalia.
And I said I
Majority of the
disagreed with
time.
you.
Okay, great. So you think doctors are doing more than just you looking at their genitalia majority of the time? Majority of the
They
time, they're going to
should
be
look
looking at.
more than the genitalia, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's say I agree with you. Let's say that they should. Okay, but we're not talking about woulda, shoulda, couldas. We're looking at like what is happening now, right?
Sorry, I'm trying to not be rude and interrupt. So if I'm silent, is because I'm letting you finish your point. My
Yep.
point
No,
is,
I'm trying to be quick
that
too.
if I were to draw
Sorry.
anybody's blood, because I've been in the medical field for several years, if I were to draw anybody's blood and look at a DNA, uh, what chromosomes that they have, that's how I would determine who is male and female. At the end of the day,
Okay.
scientifically, just scientifically, right? Scientifically, pulling blood DNA, looking for the chromosomes of what we have identified male and female to be, that's what I would utilize as my determination of who is male and who is female. So I agree with what you're stating, but I disagree with what you're stating that doctors only do. And that's what they're only doing, and that needs to change, to be honest.
All right. Well, then okay. So we can agree then that doctors right now are looking at genitalia and then they're prescribing male or female based off observed of the observed characteristics of said genitalia, right?
I'll agree with you for this argument, yes.
Okay. So that would be a reason right there as to why we wouldn't define sex just as what you're born as. Because as you just correctly pointed out, and you're right, ma'am, I want to give you credit where credit is due, is because there's other characteristics that could denote to them being actually not that sex. So, for like example, a female that's being born with a phallus, she could have XX chromosomes, and she probably has the internal anatomy. In fact, she does have the internal anatomy of a typical female. But because she was born with a phallus, the definition of sex is just based off of what you're born. Because the way we're doing sex determination at birth is just by one characteristic, when we know that that's not the correct way to determine sex.
True. I agree with you on that.
Okay, great. So if we agree there, then obviously the definition of sex, or definition of a woman as being an adult human female, we should probably like throw out that being female at birth part, because there's going to be females who aren't technically considered female at birth, right?
Can I interject?
Sure can, ma'am.
Okay. So here's my thought process is that based off of your theory about certain medical conditions that would change the definition of if somebody is a woman or a male based off of their anatomy internally and individual circumstances to where that was they were born that way with the anatomy. And I'm gonna correct, I know where you're gonna go with this, and I'm gonna circle back. So those are individuals that were born with a medical condition that struggles for them to identify on what they are as a male or female. But those are very few and far between. It is not every person that identifies as a female that they're going through this actual dilemma of a physical change that they were born with, that in reality, if they were born with women chromosomes and they had a phallus, I get that. Those are our individual distinctive medical conditions that I can understand. But that's not every trans woman.
All right. So you're right. We're not even talking about trans women right here. I'm just trying to nail down of why I'm having some issues with the way you're defining woman. So we're not even talking about trans women quite yet, because yeah, that would be disingenuous of me to ever say and make that argument and comparing it to transgender women. That's the reason why I haven't. I've kind of stayed away. You'll probably notice that if you listen to the words. I haven't been applying that to transgender women yet. So, but moving forward, yeah, I agree that it's going to be a small percentage of females that this condition is going to happen to. However, you're committing a fallacy here, and a fallacy is just a leap of logical judgment when you're stating that, oh well, it's only a small percentage. Well, that small percentage is still going to be male or female. That's the reason, and they're still going to be man or woman. That's the why we should, when we define these things, we shouldn't just put it like adult human female or adult human male at birth, male or female, because again, you're unintentionally kicking those people out, and then where do they go? Is there like a third sex, a third gender for these people? I don't believe so. That's my personal belief.
I'm listening.
Okay, so if we understand that because we do have to define these things that is going to apply to everybody in our society, because everybody in our society, am I correct in assuming here? And I don't want to put words in your mouth. So if I get this wrong, please correct me. But am I correct in assuming that you understand that there is going to be boy, girl, man, woman? There's no like in between, and no like um, variant or like some sort of third sex. Am I correct in assuming that, ma'am?
No, you're not correct, because I do understand that there's medical conditions that can make somebody not even know what their sex is. What I am trying to say is that based off of your topic that you're discussing, specifically topic that, and I can go rounds with that as well. But what you're asking me is you're trying to break it down by something that is a medical condition as opposed to something that is not physically a medical condition. So we got to figure out what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I agree. We do need to figure out what we're talking about, but that's the reason why I am breaking down the definition, because we can't just say this definition is going to apply to a majority of people, but then say, oh well, these other people, they're a medical condition, so they're the people. That makes no logical sense. We
Hmm.
make excuses to putting anything in any category. And if you, okay, great. So with that being said, you said something that I do take issue with, because there are going to be some people who don't know their sex. If they don't know their sex, that's fine. Doesn't mean that they're not male or female, because in the definition of a female is of or denoting the sex that produces large gametes. Vice versa for male, of or denoting the sex that produces small gametes. It's not just the chromosomes. It's the reason why, in what you were saying before, that I also took an issue with, is that if you're going to say that a female is XX chromosomes and a male is XY chromosomes, that's, and again, I know you said that you're relatively in your middle ages, and but we've known that sex isn't just determined from your chromosomes for the past 50 years. So we go by based off of what gametes they're producing, or if they don't have those gametes, what sex do they denote to? Basically, sign or indication of.
Asking me to listen.
Oh, I was asking you to listen because you said that you're.
No, I'm
So I was just
listening
kind
to
of like giving you what's going
your
on, because
defense.
there isn't, even though that. Go ahead.
Listening to what you're saying, and I'm being open to what you're saying. Is what I'm saying is, if you're asking me a question, please be direct and say I'm asking you a question on this. So I don't want to make a comment on something that you're just making a statement on.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. No, I just figured I would give it a pause, um, for you in case you did have any questions about any of the things that I said, because you've been really kind and patient, and let me finish my sentences. So instead of doing a long run on, I'm gonna like you know give it a pause and give it a second for you to chime in if you have any questions. But I can
Okay, I
continue
appreciate
going
that.
if
Thank
you're
you.
ready.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You can keep going.
Wonderful. That's probably good with the delay that we're having. Anyway, so now that we know what how we define sex, and I can actually we can actually give you a being either male or female. Um, this is why when you said earlier people would know what their sex is. This is why when you said earlier with themselves, but we would, using these five characteristics, and these are but are not limited to your chromosomal sex, which is one aspect, your gonadal anatomy. So uh, uh, fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, upper two-thirds of vagina, so on and so forth.
You cut
What's your
out.
genitalia? That would be penis, Fuck. Where am I? What did I cut
At
out
gonadal sex. You cut out the
great.
beginning of
So
gonadal
yeah,
anatomical sex.
thank you. All right, so we have chromosomal sex, anatomical gonadal sex, genitalia sex, chromosomal sex, or sorry, secondary sexual characteristics and hormonal sex. Sorry, it's hard to work with the frickin' lag, and I apologize. It's hard to work with the frickin' lag, and I apologize. So, with these characteristics, we can see if somebody is going to be male or female 100% of the time, because there's never going to be a case where because there's a majority of these characteristics or the observable characteristics being male or female. Even like in the cases of, of overtesticular DSDs, which is going to be cases of we used to actually refer to them as true hermaphroditic cases, which is an outdated term. But even in these cases, we can clearly see if they're going to be male or female using the 5 characteristics. Going to be male or female in like medical journals, as either being man or woman, male or female, even though technically they have a mixed ambiguity.
So just so that I'm clear, what you are stating is that if somebody's a hermaphrodite, there is no scientifically logical way to determine their sex.
No. Absolutely, quite the opposite. And yeah, let's not use that word. The only reason why I used it once is because that's what we used to classify them as, but that's incorrect. And we just refer to it as overtesticular DSD, differences in sexual development. But no, even in cases of overtesticular DSDs, they will still be male or female. Using these 5 characteristics, we can see that they'll at least have, at bare minimum, 1, sometimes 2, maybe 3 characteristics that will be in line with either the male or the female sex that are not ambiguous. They're clearly defined that they're going to be either male or female. Yeah, sure. So let's take an example of somebody who's got XXY chromosomes, right? And they have a fallopian tube, a uterus, a cervix, a vagina. And they also have undescended testes that don't produce sperm. They don't have a spermatic, or they may have a mass deferens, but they don't have a spermatic cord. They have a vulva, a cord. So they're basically having ambiguous genitalia. They have ambiguity in their anatomy. Their secondary sexual characteristics, they grow a little bit of hair, but they're relatively weak and fragile. Um, but they do show more masculine features, such as like having some facial hair. They do have a bone structure that would be more akin to having a more density than a typical female. Um, they would have a lack of testosterone, or sorry, they would have a lack of estrogen and testosterone. Um, they would be at roughly around, say, the same levels or so. This person is very ambiguous. But we can still tell that this person is, um, it would be, in this hypothetical, this person would definitely be a male. And I don't know if this case actually exists, but I'm just giving you like just a
No,
random
I
one
get
off the top
that.
of my
I
head.
get that completely. And I appreciate you explaining that. Thank you very much. So just for my
You know the
understanding,
reason why we would categorize him as a male? Oh, sorry.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
lagging again. I apologize, ma'am.
That's a-okay. You don't have to call me ma'am. I'm Val. It's okay. I'm 50. Trust me. I hate the word ma'am. I hate it.
Oh, I'm so
But
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay though.
Sorry,
because
Val.
guess what? As we hit 50, that is middle age, and it's not like old, and it's not like young, but then we're still old, I guess you could say. I don't know. I get that.
Nah.
So based off of what you're telling me, because I'm highly intelligent, so I'm soaking in everything you're saying because I do have an open mind. So the reason why you're stating that this person will probably be male is based off of the genitalia and how they present themselves, correct?
No, actually, not exactly there, because the genitalia is actually ambiguous. They have a vagina and
Right,
what looks to
right,
be
right,
like
right.
a phallus. But they do have some secondary sexual characteristics that are more in line with the male, even though it's very slight. Like they got a little bit thicker bone density, and but they do have facial hair. They do have a deeper. I was just saying in the case study, they do have a little bit of a deeper voice. But the main thing, the smoking gun here, would be the existence of the Y chromosome on the XXY with an active SRY gene.
Thank you. That's my point. So at the end of the day, if you didn't know anything about their genitalia, right? If you didn't know anything about their personality, their characteristics, or anything of that, and you're just going to go based off of scientific proof, and they pulled their blood, because even hermaphrodites have certain chromosomes that are going to determine what they
Ma'am,
would be
ma'am,
considered. Hold
please
okay.
don't use the H word. They we use intersex or
I'm
DST.
sorry.
Thank you.
That's my bad. I do apologize. Um,
Okay.
this is like one of my first major come up. So that's why I do apologize if I say the wrong words. I will work to try to say the right words. But what I'm trying to say at
Oh,
the
thank
end
you,
of the
ma'am.
day,
All right, thank you, Val.
no,
Gotta stop saying
again,
ma'am.
it's okay. Like I said, I am completely respectful. I have nothing against anybody, ever. Everyone can be
Okay.
who they want to be. I am okay with that. And I will even support them in being what they want to be. But at the end of the day, and this is where my argument comes, not because I have anything against anybody, because I really don't. But when it comes down, because I'm a scientist, so at the end of the day, scientifically, there's still a way to determine what SMEX somebody is.
Absolutely. There is always going to be a way to determine what sex they're going to be. However, I don't want you coming to the conclusion that it was just the chromosomes, though. And here, this smoking gun was the chromosomes because there's a lot of ambiguity, and even though there was secondary characteristics that aligned a little bit more with the male sex, but the major one that absolutely aligned with the male sex was the chromosomes. Even though, like again, the genomes in those chromosomes led to all the variations, but again, the reason why I don't want you to walk away with this thinking that the chromosomes are always going to be the smoking gun is because Swyer syndrome is a thing, and that's where females have XY chromosomes. That's another variation.
Okay, so I guess the argument that I'm trying to hold, if I'm trying to hold an argument in any way, shape, or form, is that at the end of the day, right,
Hmm.
in spite of everything you just told me, which is amazing, and I'm glad you're so educated on it, honestly, because like I get it. But at the end of the day, if we're going to look 100 years down the road, and archaeologists are going to be digging up our bones trying to tell our history, just like we're trying to do with every other generation, every other tribe, whatever we're looking at.
Hmm.
Scientifically, they're not going to see genitalia. They're not going to see what somebody identified. They're not going to see what the religious beliefs were. They're not going to see all this stuff if they're going based off of scientific proof, just basic scientific
Hmm.
whatever. And I get what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying in any way, shape, or form. That's where when it comes to this particular question, is why I stand the way that I do. Not that I don't agree that everyone should be who they are. I 100%, trust me, I'm 50. I let my freak flag fly. Okay. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I do. So I know it's based off of an opinion of current economical and political stances and everything that's going on. I get that. And like I said, I will stand behind any person because I love humans, regardless of gender or what they identify with. I love every human. What I'm trying to do as a debate stance is that at the end of the day, scientifically, I know that you said XY chromosome shouldn't be, but if somebody's telling our story 100 years from now, they're not going to be able to identify what you identified as or anybody
So
identified
here's
as.
the thing. Okay, so you're right about one thing. They will be able to tell. Well, not with 100% certainty, but with a great deal of certainty that we're going to be either male or female. I agree with that because chromosomes, and because that would be giving them the biggest indicator. Chromosomes, and it'll match to our sex like in the high 90 percentile range. That's going to be true. That's the reason why if you actually listen to architecture, our archaeologists, they'll say with high certainty to a high degree. They'll never say with 100% certainty because that would just be a lie. Because again, in chromosomes, there's variations. This is the reason why if you actually like listen to like archaeologists, sorry, I can't say the word, they'll actually look at like what they were buried with to see what was this person in society. This is the reason why we know, like some pharaohs in Egypt, we knew that even though they were seen as a man, we actually knew they were a female, and we knew they were a female, and we knew that people saw them as a man because we saw what they were buried with. That would be typically with other men. However, we did the DNA test. Oh, turns out they were female. So obviously, this person was seen as a man, was regarded as a man in society, but then the DNA tests, skeletal structure, both confirmed that this person was more than likely a female. By the way, I'll be right back. If anybody else wants to talk, they can go ahead.
Oh, Vel, do you know when, by chance, bone structure actually starts becoming sexually dimorphic?
How are you today?
Are you asking me personally, or are you asking the panel in general?
Well, I'm asking you because I'm most of the panel already knows.
Until puberty.
Yeah, exactly. So DNA is not really something we can get from fossilized bone structures. So we would have to go specifically off of bone structure. And yes, you're absolutely correct that no one in 20,000 years is going to be able to determine what gender we identified with. However, bone structure, the sexual the archaeologists of that time would assume that person to be female, even if they're assigned male at birth or born male.
It also depends on when they transition too.
Well, yeah, that's why I specifically stated if they transition.
Yeah, I understand the medical and the biological because that's my expertise. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's why I specified when they transition.
I'm back now.
I don't think using bone structure and what they dig up in 1,000 years or 10,000 years is necessarily relevant. Welcome.
No, I agree with you. I never said that. That was somebody in the comments. That was not me.
Oh, I thought that was your argument. I apologize.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah. I'm just trying to remember where we left off there, Val. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about like yeah, there's going to be a typicality that they might be able to do all these things, but again, it's not going to be 100% certain. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's in somewhere in the 90 percentile range, but going to get wrong. And that's the point, is that like this is already calculated for when they're doing this stuff. And we also remember that even though that transgender people, like especially on, might see them a lot more, but in reality, they're a really small portion of the population. There are more ginger people than there are transgender people.
I agree. So can I ask a legit question, like being open-minded?
Ask any question you want. Or,
So
yeah,
I was
Val,
born
God,
female.
stop doing that.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not holding it against you. So I was born female. So what makes any trans woman more female than me being born female?
No one. No, nobody. Let me make this very clear. There is no female that is better or worse than any other female. Because just being a female is over denoting the sex that produces large gametes. And whether or not you produce large gametes isn't going to be the end all determiner if you're a female. At the end of the day, you'll be considered a female if you either do that thing or if you have a majority of the characteristics that are aligned with the typical female sex. There is no more female or less female because that would be gross.
Would there be
like
more men or less men for trans men as well?
No. Or if you're talking about male, no, I don't think so.
No, I'm just
Because
asking.
again, I wouldn't take. Right. Like, yeah, because like let's say for example, a man that's born without testicles, is he less of a man? No, and that would be terrible to say that like, ha ha, ballless or whatever. Like that would just that's a dick move. Like,
Just for context, because sex is binary, by definition, you cannot be more or less of a one sex. You either are or you aren't. If that makes sense.
By that definition, why are you asking the question you're asking?
Oh, that
Question,
because
our question
oh,
has
because you're
nothing
saying
to do
okay,
with whether or not someone is more or less female, or more or less male.
yeah. So I think again, no, when we're talking about woman, we're talking about a gender. Or when we're talking about male and female, I was talking about sex, because even almost everybody that I've talked to who's good faith on this matter, and I assume you are, you'll recognize that there isn't just man or woman. There's also boy and girl.
No, I understand that you're asking why you're getting the responses from me that you're getting is because you're asking if trans women are women. And I'm simply saying that they're not because they're trans women. They're transitioning into a female. They were not born a female. They're transitioning into a female. That's
Okay,
where I'm
so
coming
then
from in my state, in my
okay,
stance.
so so then this brings us all the way back to the beginning. So now that we know how we define sex, this is going to be the thing that I think we're probably going to butt heads on, but that's okay. We'll let it happen. Trans women can indeed be female.
Don't
They
disagree
can.
with you on the female portion of it.
Oh wow, cool beans. So yeah, you would have to understand then, and even under the definition of adult human female, that some trans women, specifically Karkar and Mama up here, and Sophie actually, they're all women, actual women, because they're female.
So you're saying that being female makes you a woman.
Well, under the definition of adult human female, yes, objectively Karkar, Mama, and Sophie are objectively female, so therefore they are women.
So then,
They are objectively female, so therefore they are women.
I'm going to ask you the question that you're asking: what makes a woman a woman?
What? Oh, okay. You're gonna flip it around on me. So if we're having a good faith conversation, let me just be honest with you. I don't think that sex makes a woman a woman. I think that's kind of a sexist view. Do that, but when I'm going out and I'm like thinking about what is a woman in our society, you know, how do how do women interact in the culture, society, and the time period that we live in, and can transgender individuals do these things? Well, then I start asking the question, what's the common through line? Can all women give birth? Well, no, trans women can't give birth. Well, wait, can all cisgender women give birth? No, so I can't really hold that against them. All right, so what do they have? And then I go down the line, and I can't think of a single thing, not one thing, that all cisgender women are going to have in common that that would be applicable to be like, okay, that's the through line. That's why they have to be this. That's why they have to be women. And in reality, what I find, and this is just my perspective. This does not mean that my perspective is the right perspective, by the way. How I see a woman is going to be somebody who interacts with, engages in, and participates with gender expectations, gender expressions in society. So when I see that people when I go out day to day work, day to day life, walking down the street, I'm not seeing for me to see their sex. I'm not seeing the gametes. I'm not seeing the ovaries. I'm not seeing the fallopian tubes, uterus, nothing like that. Not even seeing the genitalia unless I'm about to have hanky spanky with them. Like 95% of the women that I see in my life, I will never know the sex of. But yet I still know they're women. Is that weird? So that means
But why?
obviously
That's what I'm trying to get from you. It's like, why do you see them? If you're not seeing sex, if you're not seeing DNA, if you're not seeing all of this, what is a woman in society today in your eyes?
in my eyes,
Objectively.
it's yeah. In my eyes, I'm going to see like, okay, how do I know if somebody's a woman? Well, I'm picking up hints. I'm picking up secondary sexual characteristics. But again, as we said before, just because they have some secondary characteristics doesn't mean that they're that sex. So I can see like, okay, this person has breasts, or this person has a body figure that's more in line of a man, or this person has a body figure that's more in line with a female. This person presents more female. This person presents more male. This person is, and and I hate to say it because it is damaging, but this is just the fact of the reality that society sees stereotypes. We see the stereotypical person looking like a male or looking like a female, and we associate these people to being man or woman. That is just the reality. I think that's just the objective reality that we live in, and that's what I've come to understand is that society as a whole is going to see women as like, okay, are they fulfilling these? And it's terrible because I don't really like these stereotypes myself. But it's going to be, are they fulfilling these stereotypes? Or do they look like the typical woman, or do they look like the typical man? And we have these schemas, which is basically neurobiological frameworks in our head, where if we say man or woman, we immediately have a picture that comes to our brain, and then we match people based off of this perceived notion of man or woman. And if they don't fit these things, then we get icked out, we get weirded out. We're like, okay, that this doesn't fit, this doesn't look like a man or a woman. This is the reason why we see butch lesbians being dragged out of McDonald's bathrooms, getting beaten, because even though they are an adult human female, people obviously didn't see them like a woman. So even though adult human female was literally this person, this people objectively or subjectively saw them as actually being a transgender person or a male, and they took action against it. Another thing like this happened in Buffalo Wild Wings, where a girl had to show her breasts in order for her to like use the bathroom, because they didn't believe that this person was actually a woman or
And
a
I
girl in this case.
disagree with all those judgments.
I know, and I do too, and I think you and I are in agreement there. But that's what I'm saying is like, as a society as a whole, I think that's what we're looking to see. Like, are these people fitting these stereotypes? Are they fitting what the notion of being a man or a woman is in their head? And if they do match that, then cool, move along your day. But if you don't match that, then they just presume that you're not a man or you're not a woman.
And that's
And this
my
brings
problem, to be honest.
oh
That is my problem with that particular what do you have, the background, is because there are a bunch of stereotypes.
yes,
And I get that.
yes,
And I get that people can be perceived a certain way, even in spite of how they live their life. Because, like, I'm going to be honest, like, there's been feminine men that are married, have kids, that I would have never guessed if I'm going to live by stereotypes, right? Because they presented feminine, but they're still a man that has a wife, that has kids, that have,
yeah.
the stereotypical stuff. And I get that, because trust me, I don't fit into stereotypes, so I don't live by stereotypes. But what I'm trying to understand from your perspective, because I'm genuinely trying to understand, is that if we don't want to live by stereotypes, why are we living by stereotypes?
Oh, because that's just the reality that we live in. I'm not
But
saying
we
that
can
I
change
like
our
it,
reality.
but we can, but this will require literally everybody changing the way that we think and process. So that's like the second part of what I was going to get into. So now, even because that used to be my view, and I'm kind of like giving you like where I've been and where I've led up and what my thinking was, because my honest to God view was like, even society is getting this wrong, because even the stereotypes that we see is still failing cisgender women. So then I'm back to the drawing board of what is it that every single woman, besides being an adult and a human, is going to have in common. What's going to be the through line? And I literally have only come to one thing that is in alignment with the female sex.
And I'm about to blow your mind, because I'm 50 years old and I've lived through a lot. So I'm going to tell you what I was brought up to believe that womanhood was.
Okay.
And simply as my exposure to my environment, what I was, I get that things have changed psychologically, sociology, I get that. So think of it this way. Whenever a female ever started their period, their family said, you just got womanhood. Now they're treating
Oh, that's
the woman.
so gross.
I know it is, but I'm just saying that this is what I grew up in, right? So whenever a girl, a child, a teenager, whatever you want to call them, right, started their period, they said, welcome to womanhood.
Oh my gosh.
And you want to know why they said that, though? I'm going to tell you honestly why they said that. Because I've understood it over the years, and it may not make sense and it may not be right, but why I've understood it is that the reason why they say welcome to womanhood is because women now, once they start their period, can get pregnant and have a family.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why that stereotype lived in my age, and I get that. So that's why I said I'm open. I'm willing to understand everything. I'm going based off of what I grew up with and my own personal education on everything. And that's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you, is because there is a lot of stereotypes out there. And can I be like real without being judged?
Of course you can.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and if anyone wants to shut me down, that's fine. I'm going to say this because I'm 50 and I can. So, being I hate cis woman, I'm going to tell you right now, being a woman and what I grew up in, I'm going to be real. Like, the constructs of what some, I'm not going to say all because I'm not going to be that general, the way that they present themselves as women and the way that women actually have had to fight to present themselves is almost borderline disrespectful.
I agree.
Because us women that were born, if you want to call us cis women, have had to fight a lot of social constructs that trans women, even though they're fighting their own, will never truly understand what we fought. Because at the end of the day, and this may sound harsh, and I apologize to anyone that I offend because I'm not trying to offend. At the end of the day, if a trans woman feels that womanhood is too hard because of the judgments, the social constructs, whatever you want, they can stop taking the the estrogen. They can change themselves back to what they originally were if they want to deal with what women have to deal with and they don't want to deal with it anymore. To be honest, like that's straight.
Can,
Us women,
can
we can't.
oh yeah, can I actually interject there, because I think we found an area I think we disagree slightly, because again, you're saying like, okay, well, they can just opt out of womanhood. Again, I take issue with that for the for the main reason is because nobody can opt out of having a gender identity aligned with either the male or female or neither sex. That is literally an innate part of who you are. If you take my brain and put it in a jar and I'm somehow able to keep consciousness, I'm still gonna know that I'm a male or I'm a man. That's something that is innate to you. It is innate as your heart beats. It's innate as your digestive system is working right now. We've tried changing this before in the past, with disastrous effects. I won't go into much detail, but basically, there's a boy named David Reamer who we tried doing this on. The poor man ended up losing his life because we basically fucked with his head way too much. This John Money guy fucked with his head way too much. So this is what happens. You
That is so
cannot
sad.
change.
I'm sorry, that is so sad.
It is, but we can't change gender identity. That's why I was like, as I was skeptical first. When I heard gender identity for the first time, I was extremely skeptical. And then I read that case. I also did a little bit more digging into it, which again I know if you're more interested in what gender identity is, Alyssa can go through like the entire thing with you. You two would nerd out. You'd have fun. But I'm just gonna sum it down real for you. It's like you can't change it. It's literally a part of your brain and who you are. So yeah, they might not have the exact same struggles as born females, but then again, born females aren't going to have the exact same struggles as other born females. There's females out there that will never have a period. They'll never know what that's like. There's females out there that will never have to worry about their bodies being legislated since they don't have any body parts to be legislated on. But yet they still feel the oppression because we live in a patriarchy. The patriarchy is ever present, and yeah, they do constantly shit on women. But
Yeah.
you'll notice I said women, not just females, because again, it's the same thing for transgender women because transgender women, a majority of them are actually seen as women in society, so they get the same patriarchy bullshit, the misogynistic treatment. A lot of trans women get that too. I know I'm talking a lot right now, but I'm sure if I let Mama or Karkar, Alyssa or Sophie, they'll probably tell you all the misogynistic shit that's happening to them in their day-to-day life. Um, and then lastly, you said that like okay, females fought for their rights. You're right, they did. Females fought tooth and nail to get the monicum, the little bit of rights that they got today, and there's still a lot more that we need to do. Personally, I consider myself a feminist as well. However, we shouldn't also forget the people who are there fighting alongside females. And I want to give you two names. I don't know if you're familiar with them: Martha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. They were instrumental in women's rights. They just so happen to also be transgender women themselves.
No, I agree with that. The problem that I have is that those are a select few. And I again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not even going against what you just said. And I'm not saying that they don't have the misogynistic treatment that we do. The problem that I have is that being born a female from birth, right? Not whether anyone has identified me as a female, but from birth. And this goes with a lot of countries, not just even the US. Being a female comes with so many other things than just genitalia. And so I agree with what you're saying, and I get that. And that's why I said I don't hold anybody against what they want to be. I will be the fighter that will support anything that you want to be. We're debating. And I'm telling you what I feel as a born female woman, not transitioning into anything. I don't like cis. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say cis. Because I shouldn't have a differentiation of what I was born to be. And I get that there's been struggles, but I had no choice but to be what I am. And just like everyone didn't have a choice to be what they are, they're choosing to be what they are. But what I get upset about is and this is going to be honest, and I'm so sorry. I know I'm going to offend some people, and I'm not trying to, I'm being honest. But like when some trans women try to pretend that they're having a period and they don't have no clue, I am so sorry, but a man has no clue what we go through. That irritates me.
Okay. So, what is one thing that every single woman on the face of the earth is going to go through that no trans woman would go through?
They're never going to have a period.
Not all cisgender women are going to have periods.
That's true. But that's one
So,
thing.
Would you
But
say
no,
that?
but that is one thing.
Wait, hold on. Let me follow through with that. I want to know. So, would you say to that female that was born a female that because they can't have periods that they're never going to know the struggle of being a female or being a woman? I'm sorry.
That's not what I said. What I am saying is that it's offensive. It's offensive to me as a woman that was born female that has gone through all that when somebody pretends to go through all that. Even with the estrogen, even if they've had all of the transgender reconstruction, whatever, when somebody pretends to understand something that most women, maybe not all, have gone through.
Oh, are you done? Or I'm sorry, I can't tell. What did I leg out there, or were you still
I was
talking?
done. I'm just saying that when
Oh, okay. All right.
I was
So
done.
yeah, again. So again, transgender women. Let me ask. Hey, hold on a second. Mama, are you available? Parker, are you available? Alyssa, Sophie, anybody available? All right, Parker, have you ever pretended to know what it's like or the issues of having a period?
No.
Okay. So, all right, Alyssa. Oh, she's busy. Sophie. Everybody on the panel just kind of like.
I'm not saying all, I'm saying a majority.
Okay, so again, my overall point here, I'll just say it. My overall point here is that transgender women, they know what they're working with. They're not. A lot of people like to say they're delusional. They're not delusional. They know exactly who they are. They know exactly what they're working with. They're not under the assumption like, oh my God, I'm going to know exactly how a woman that's had a period is feeling. No, nobody makes. Well, at least if they're being genuine, nobody's going to make that claim. So I just want to make sure we're clear. But they are going to say that they know the struggles of womanhood because, quite frankly, if you're going to try to boil down womanhood to something, that has to be applicable to all women, all females who are now women. And if you can't do that, then obviously the conclusion that I've come to is that womanhood, and same thing for manhood, by the way, is going to be subjective based off the individual because no two people's womanhood, no two people's manhood is going to be the exact same. Just because they're different doesn't mean they're less valid.
valid because everyone's entitled to feel how they feel. I get that.
Well, you
And
did
I'm
say you
trying
did
to take,
say
I'm
like
not trying to,
you get
I'm telling
frustrated
my
when they're
personal
pretending.
thoughts. No, that's my personal thoughts. Because when they're pretending, they're not having a period, right?
Again, who's pretending to have a period? Who's a trans woman?
I have come across several, and that's the part that I have. It's like, okay, I get it. You are transitioning into a woman because that's what you believe. It's what you want to live, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to be honest. Like, I have never in my 50 years had to defend me being a biological woman as much as I have had in the last maybe 5 years.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry you have to that you've been put in a position to defend you being a female.
Well,
That's
so
kind of
so just for example, calling me a cis female, I'm sorry. No, I'm a female. I was
oh,
born a
ma'am.
female. I'm just saying that that's a word that's offensive to me.
I would say cisgender woman, not because female or female. Trans woman and cisgender woman is just a way of differentiating between
But there's
somebody who was born with it. Hold
but
on.
you guys are telling me that you're not differentiating between the two.
No. So like when in the important conversations like with the ones that we're having, it is good that we have a differentiator. Okay, but what we're saying is that they should be categorized and treated the same as women, and because they are women, it's just again it's an adjective that's describing the noun. It doesn't change the noun. That's what we're trying to get at. Just like the same as like we would say black women and white women, or Hispanic women or Asian women. We would sometimes use an adjective in front of them if we're trying to describe um, a thing about the noun. That's what adjectives do. They describe something about the noun, right? So that's what literally all what's when we say somebody is cisgender or somebody is transgender, all that refers to is not like you're not a woman. It literally just means somebody who is born with a gender identity that is congruent with the sex assigned at birth, which means that your gender identity and your sex align. And then transgender is where somebody's gender identity and the sex that they were assigned with at birth are incongruent, meaning that they don't align. Cis means same side of, trans means opposite side of. That's kind of how that works. It's not meant to be insulting. It's not meant to be a slur. A lot of people think that's a slur, but no, this is actually scientific language and how people are actually using the language to describe the noun.
So then we're just talking about words then.
Yeah, basically, when we're saying cisgender or transgender, we're just describing like, okay, does this person are we talking about somebody whose gender identity aligned with their sex or somebody whose gender identity that didn't align with the sex at birth? That's all it means.
So if we're talking about words, then why are my words not as powerful as yours?
What do you mean? Your words are
Saying because you're
important.
saying that cisgender is an identification, right?
Oh, no. It's not an identification. It's just an adjective that's describing this person. And it's only
Okay.
describing one particular area about the person. It's not
So
telling them
what
who
is
you
it
are, what
describing
you do.
particularly?
Yeah, I just told you. It's describing that you have a gender identity that aligns with the sex that you were assigned with at birth.
So if I was aligned at birth as being a woman, why am I not allowed just to call myself a woman, not a cis woman?
Yeah, you can call yourself a woman. I've never said that you couldn't. You can call
Okay, so then when I get offended by other people calling me a cis woman because all I've ever known was a woman, and that's offensive to me because I've grown up this way. I've lived the experience of it. Like, why is it so challenging for anyone to understand that women that were born women that identify as women as birth don't like to be called cis women? I know a lot of women that do not like to be called cis women.
Okay, Car wants to say something.
Yeah, I don't know if this is asked, but I mean, would you hold the same respect if a trans woman doesn't want to be just called as a trans woman? She just wants to be referred to as a woman?
Yes, but I never switched that until I was becoming a cis woman. If you want to be a woman, then assimilate. Period.
I mean, as long as you said like long as you wouldn't have a problem with just a trans woman calling herself just a woman, I don't see a problem with you saying the same thing.
I agree. That's why I'm trying to understand why I'm in the comments as well, not the panel. I'm not, but like, I'm just speaking my, what anybody else is saying. Like, I will respect each person as a person. I don't care what their gender is. I really don't identify as.
Yes,
If
Palm?
somebody wants to identify as a woman, I will respect that they're identifying as a woman. What I'm trying to say is that, and somebody asked why I keep saying my age, and the reason why I keep saying my age is because it's significant, because I have a big generational gap between what's going on currently in this present environment as opposed to what I grew up with. That's the reason why I keep saying my age, is because I do have a different perspective than a lot of people on this panel.
Yeah, Palm, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was just saying that there are a lot of us who wouldn't. I'm not a trans woman, by the way, but there are a lot of us trans people who wouldn't really want the adjective there. But if we don't add the adjective there becomes a problem, or at least a lot of people come at us for it. I try not to have the adjective there, but a lot of people come at me for it, saying I'm tricking them, saying that it's a deception, that I'm lying. I get harassed for it, so I now add the T word there.
But how do they know if you're assimilating?
They can hear my voice and immediately tell. Or at least they assume. I do not sound like a man.
Also, I do want to point out, though, Val, is that when you say assimilate, remember what we said before? You could literally be an adult human female, and people will still see you like a man, and literally drag you out of bathrooms to beat you up. So I just think that's kind of like disingenuous to say, okay, to just assimilate, because even women have problems assimilating to be women. You know, it's kind of an impossible threshold to literally please everyone. You know.
I'm not expecting you all to please anybody, to be honest, but yourselves.
Right. Right. Well.
That is
yep,
all I wanted to say.
No, yeah. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate you coming up here. Hey, King, can I get your age and pronouns real quick? Or not? Okay, I guess King is just gonna chill. Anyway, if you're trying to talk, King, I can't hear you. But yeah, no, Val, if you get annoyed and angry that people call you cisgender, I can get that, because the world that you lived in, and why, and like, and the world that we live in now has changed. There's been a lot of stuff that has been normalized. Um, so I get that, but at the same time, I would also just state, like, okay, that's kind of just it when they're referring to as that. I personally, this is just what I see, is that they're using a scientific word, they're using a medical understanding of someone who was born with a gender identity uh, that aligns with their sex assigned at birth. But I get how that can be frustrating. But I guess just remember at the same time that that goes double for transgender women, um, because they get called men, they get called trans women all the time, and sometimes they kind of have the same feelings, and what they get told all the time is like, it's just a fact, it's just a fact, it's just a fact. So long as like you're willing to like accept them as who they are and just kind of move about your day, then I would say you're right in your feelings. So long
No,
as like
and I
you treat
normally do,
people
but
fairly.
it's just an internal process that I'm being open with you all so that you can understand where I'm coming from, whether you agree with it or not, because I am being open to understanding the whole position.
Yeah, and I think you and I have had a great conversation up here so far, Val.
I'm not here to be rude or even to disprove anything. I'm just saying how I feel, and that's why when somebody asks me why I keep saying my age is because I'm sorry, there is a big generation gap between me and the people on the panel. So I'm making that clear distinction because generational gaps have a lot to do with the way the society behaves today.
Yeah. Well, Val, I just want to say again, I know that we disagree on some things, but you came up We had a really respectful conversation. I hope that you didn't feel pressed by anything that I came up with. I hope that you felt
Not at all.
respected and heard. That's good. All right. Well, is there any last words you want to leave off, Val? Before I drop you down, we can move on to the next
No, I
guest.
am good. But I do want you all to know that I am for every person, regardless of gender, age, sex, or race. I'm just going to explain my opinion based off of what I grew up with and what I know, and what I am always open to learning new things, because guess what? Life is always about learning in our experience and how we choose to experience. So I hope I didn't take away from anybody else's experience by explaining some of my confusion on some of the topics.
Okay. No, ma'am. Again, we disagree on some things, but we were able to have a conversation about it. And even if you're not, I'm not expecting anybody to change their mind overnight, but hopefully I gave you some things to think about. And the same thing for everybody else down in the chat as well. So thank you
Thank
again,
you for
Val.
having me.
Yeah, come back up anytime, Val. You take care now. All right. See, that was genuinely a nice conversation. Hmm. Oh, wait. King, I literally. What happened, King? Why'd you run? Darn. Anyway, so chat. What do we think about the guest? I think Val was, you know, she 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 comes from an old school way of doing things. I get it, but
She
I
reminds
don't
me
think.
a bit of my dad.
Yeah, I don't think she's got bad intentions. I think she genuinely doesn't have bad intentions. She's just a little confused of like how things are today. And I get it, because unless you're like really into it, unless you're doing a lot of research, it is confusing. We get that. Love her. Yeah, she was pretty good.
When I
Like,
mean she
it was at least good dialogue where you could actually have a back and forth, unlike a lot of the other guests that come up here and just immediately start crashing out, or they act as if they're in good faith, but then they very quickly show their true colors.
Mhm.
Oh no, Val. Of course, no. I don't think you had bad intentions at all. I think you were a wonderful guest. We had disagreements, but like we said, we would have a nice conversation, and we did. I want people who genuinely want to have these conversations in good faith to know that at least on my panel,
By the way, when I said she reminds me of my dad's also 50 and is still trying to learn. So like I understand that there's a big generation difference.
I was like, um, um, like I was like, did we if we wanted to go into like the gender identity stuff, but I'm like, oh my goodness, that's that might be overload. Did I cut out?
Nope. Well,
Okay.
maybe for half a sec.
Oh, okay. I was saying to Alyssa. Oh, yeah. I was saying to Alyssa, like, if we went to the gender identity stuff, I think that might be overload.
Mhm.
You know, where is IG? I thought he was gonna be coming back.
Yeah, I did too. Well, before you introduce the next guest, Mr. Kinder, we have 25 people in here. Thank you, every single person who is here supporting the live, here for good conversations. With that being said, why are we only at 3.4K? Can we aim to get that up to 10K before the end of the next conversation? If so, that would be greatly fantastic. What that also does is it helps keep the algorithm fresh. It keeps pushing us out to the FYP page and ensures that fantastic, good faith conversations, debates, and discourse can continue. With that being said, get to work, everyone. And also, with corner, it looks like a little arrow pointing right.
that is the share button. If you can share this out to your friends, your families, uncle, that
good
would
night, Car.
also greatly help. So let's make sure we're putting in the work, keeping the live going. With that being said, back to our amazing host, Mr. Kinder Potato.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Val. Thank you, Lacey, for liking, sharing the live. Appreciate you all. Hi, Lolia?
Lolia.
I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Lolia. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
I've been great. I was about to say, I think you're a friend of mine.
Yeah, I am. That woman pissed me off. Where is my charger?
Oh.
It's whatever. I'm the friendly. I wasn't sure if you were only looking for ops at the moment. I can't find my earbuds.
Actually, no. Actually, I do. Oh, no. We want friendlies on the panel too, because I love talking with you guys as well. Because I don't think I've ever had you on the panel for too long. I think I've had you on the panel I think once before, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I don't usually leave good reception. It's not like out of malice. I don't know if that's not the word I'm trying to use.
Yeah, you just hate me, I know.
No, I don't hate you, Kinder. I keep calling you Kinder. It's kinder. I need to kinder. I need to.
You can call me Kinder or Kinder. Honestly, it does not matter to me.
Yeah, but it makes it sound like you're a kindergarten teacher, and you're not.
I was gonna some people think of it more like Kinder, like what you use to set a flame. So I've always thought of it as Mr. Kinder sparks a flame for kinder people out there and being great potatoes.
Well, whenever I hear Kinder, all I think about are the Kinder eggs.
Yes, that's what I think about.
Right? Yeah. I knew that was gonna happen.
That is what when I first met Kinder, that is exactly what I thought. My bad.
The chocolate egg potato. Okay.
And he wonders why I misgender him.
Hey.
Hey, I said he and him. I know,
but you misgender me because I think of you as a Kinder egg.
No, just because genuinely sometimes I'm like, God damn, I don't know what it is. I literally don't misgender anybody as much as Palm. But Palm forgives me all the time.
I think it's my voice that catches so many people off guard, which I understand. My voice doesn't sound masculine, not in the slightest.
I think you sound like the 12-year-olds in the COD lobby, if that makes you feel any better.
I was about to say, he sounds like a 13-year-old, and that would be like, you sound like the 13-year-old that said that they were gonna fuck my mom when I was 13.
Oh, what? That's interesting.
What? Okay, look, I get my voice is stunted, so I sound a bit younger, but what?
Yeah, did anybody play COD when they were younger, like Call of Duty? I would be in a Black Ops lobby, and this person, it's always this random kid that you like slapped in the face a couple times, and I'd be like, yeah, fuck you, I know where you lived, I did your mom last night. And like, okay, great. Kids are brutal. You want to know where the
weird.
I played Red Dead Redemption, but not Call of Duty.
Oh, I play Rainbow Six Siege. The people on there are brutal. I get told to go back to the kitchen and call a slur 5 minutes into a round.
Fuck.
Right.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
All right. So since you're up here, let's do some mock debates. You ready for it?
Let's do some what?
Mock debates. If you're gonna be up here, I'm gonna teach you a thing or two.
Okay, hold on, wait. Let me. I have to find my earbuds. I swear I had them, and then they just poofed, gone.
Are you sure you had them?
Yes,
Were they ever really there to begin with?
Stop making me decide.
I will let you know, Kinder, my mind isn't in full debate mode today. My grandfather's back at the hospital.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Is it a surgery? Oh shit.
Huh?
Surgery? Oh.
No, he has cancer and it's terminal.
Oh shit.
So he's been going back and forth for quite a while now.
Oh.
Mock debate. I have a mildly oppositional question. I know it's sad. Okay. What is your question, Kellen?
The concept of an oppositional question.
That is an interesting. Yeah.
I know. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, what's up,
Oppositional.
man?
What up? What up? What West Side equals East Side? No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
What side are they on?
It's only mildly oppositional. It's not. I think Val said that the word cis offends her. I feel like some conservatives, I don't know if she's a conservative, but she's more, you can tell she's kind of more right leaning, probably.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, but
I mean,
you
I
know,
kind
whatever.
of got that from like the first two
First
minutes.
2 seconds.
But anyway, let's
I think
let's
that
hear
a
what the
lot of-
semi-oppositional
The
question is.
oppositional question.
I think like her, she's like, I am a woman. I've battled where am I going with this? I got a brain fart.
I have no idea.
Go ahead.
I feel like some biological women that were just like woman, you know, all the way through and didn't think about it like her because she was born 50 years ago. They feel like the word cis is manipulative, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. They think it's demeaning, and it's not. It's just an adjective.
Like they think that it's like like the trans way of saying I'm a woman too. You're a cis woman. I'm a trans woman. I'm a woman too.
They think they're like better. It's like weird.
Well, so again, when it comes to like the whole with Val, I also understand like this is something like, you know, she's not extremely used to. She did grow up with an older way of doing that, and we can't really police how somebody's gonna feel about a particular word. That I can't do that. So if somebody says they get offended by a scientific word, then I can't really like be like, oh well, you can't get offended because like I can't control that. I can't control what you're offended by. However, what Karkar asked her was a very important question because this would show if she was a hypocrite or not. Would she be offended or would she get angry if a transgender person wanted to be called just a woman then? She said no. So I'll at least give her credit where credit is due. She was consistent. She was saying no. If I would call a transgender woman a woman, and then she wouldn't. She also didn't want to be called a cisgender woman. So yeah, I get it. Like it is a scientific word. It is something that's used in medical and scientific literature, so on and so forth. But at least to her credit, she was logically consistent. She wasn't really much of a hypocrite on that area. So that's all I gotta say.
And then she opened it with, okay, I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit. I had one other question.
Lie.
Is it slightly oppositional again?
This must be the oppositional question.
No, not really. So a few years ago, Stephen King tweeted on Twitter, back when it was Twitter. Trans women are women, and I always thought, because I wasn't, fully on board with the trans thing until like recently, but my take on it was like, trans women are trans women. That's why you said trans women. So she opened with, trans women are trans women. Because why would you say trans if they're really women? I think a lot of people feel that way.
Oh wait, what did Val say? So why did you not oppose? So why did you not oppose when I was up? I am. You're referring to them. Oh, because they wanted to let the conversation finish, Val. Because they know that when I'm having a conversation, I tend to just want to have a one-on-one. So that's to be fair to them. But I will, like I said before, Val, I give you I'll always give you credit for being consistent. So there's that. I'll be intellectually honest. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
I'm not gonna let it be condescending in the comments. I was gonna come up and talk to you, but I was at work and I was just listening in. So calm the fuck down. I don't know what the fuck that was on.
Lola, I'm sorry, but question: why does your microphone sound like a cicada?
Because I don't have my headphones.
Why are you using me?
I've been looking for my headphones for like
Why,
5 minutes.
why did you plug me into your phone? Why am I sticking out of your phone? Why are you talking into me?
So sorry.
I didn't mean to be rude. I just hear the cicada.
No. You're fine. I can't find my headphones.
And I was laughing while on mute because I'm like, I don't laugh out loud. People will think that's rude.
Where is? No, I had them this morning. I was sleeping next to one earphone. I swear to God, I had one earbud next to me when I was like.
But for the trans women are not women, they're trans women thing.
Yeah.
My father, he's around 50. He just turned 50. He is 50. He asked the same question not that long ago, and I'm like, well, it's an adjective. Are you going to call every single woman by the adjective? You know, like it's just an adjective. It's what we refer. We don't call all women by the adjective, but in certain circumstances, we do call them by the adjective.
Because Stephen King said trans women are women. It's like, well, then why did you call them trans women? Is that just a descriptor? But they're still women, but it's just a descriptor.
It's because a lot of people say that trans women aren't women. So right now in this time, we're stating that trans women are women, and we have to have and we're just adding the descriptor to that to make it known who we're talking about.
Like, hopefully that'll be like a temporary thing, and then they'll be people will see them as women.
Yeah. Right
Okay.
now, it's what we, because like as I stated before when she was up here, some of us tried to just go by the gender stuff. But when we don't have the trans adjective there, most of us came after. I'm so sorry, my English is not on point today. I've tried it before. I've had people come at me for it. Why are you laughing?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, go on.
Wait a second. You can't just say don't worry about it.
I just did.
Now he's gonna worry about it. You can't do that to people. That's my pet peeve. Is when people are like, "Don't worry about." Like, I'll ask them a question and then they're gonna answer and they're going, "Don't worry about it." Now I'm gonna worry for the rest of the day.
Good. Did you ever think like that was going to be actually my master plan? Was to actually make you think about it?
Yeah,
I knew. That's called reverse psychology. Think about it.
Oh, I can't believe you.
But I did not come at anyone. I was answering a question. Oh, yeah.
I'm canceling you on Twitter, Potato.
Did I say that it was her coming after?
Wait, Twitter is bad? When did Twitter come back?
I still call it Twitter. I will never dead name a single person, but I will dead name Twitter.
Same.
I'm not fucking calling it X. You can suck my. Nope.
The owner of quote unquote X dead names his own daughter. I'll dead name his app.
You know how I know it's still called? You know how I know it's still called Twitter? Because when I search Twitter on my apps, it still pops up. So.
That's funny. All right, Alyssa, can you pull up the
I've never had Dunkin' Donuts or
Oh,
Dunkin'
we need
Coffee.
Kinder to come
Just
back for half a minute just so we can bring them up. TikTok, for some reason, doesn't like it when the
Where are my headphones?
I love the sound of the keyboard.
I know I
Well,
sometimes
we
I
don't
do.
have any oppositions yet.
Yeah, maybe if you keep typing. Put your hands up. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
I love how
I'm the single ladies. I'm the single ladies.
I love how Kinder came back. I love how Kinder came back for that. That was great timing.
Oh, I love a good sing along. No, do you want to do body? Do you want to do body shop with me later? Like, mommy don't know daddy's getting home.
Oh my god.
Body shop.
They still play. And we have the Walmart
Well,
shuffle.
that's your first mistake.
You think I chose?
Well, kinda, yeah.
You think I chose Walmart? You think I didn't like look at my options and go, Walmart's the best one here.
Actually, you know, I hate to say it, where I live, the Walmart is like literally one of the top three. Well, literally is the top in the, at least in the top 5 top payers in my town. You can go work at Walmart in my town and like crack $20 an hour. It's amazing.
Well, I think that's if you work in a bakery, because bakery gets 20 an hour. I get 15 an hour. I'm OGP, which is all my grocery pickup, and we just come to people's cars, and then
Better to be OGP than AGP.
What the fuck does that mean?
Mama?
What the hell? What does that mean? Wait a second.
I just saw.
Vision is acting up or not, but did Lacey type what I think Lacey just typed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did Lacey type?
Lacey typed Edna Mode is trans.
True.
When I worked at Walmart, I was capped too. I was gonna be OGP and transfer over there, but long story.
It's not a horrible job. You just gotta deal with the people. People will come up to you like, "Oh, where is this?" and it'll be like down the fucking aisle.
Just down the fucking aisle. I hope you say it exactly like that.
I hate when people do that. It's like the worst. It's my pet peeve because like we'll be in the aisle where they're looking for the item, and then they're like, "Excuse me, where is this?" And I'm like, I point to the area, and they're like, "Oh."
Mama, kinder. Can you guys help me understand the difference between the gonadal ridge and the urogenital ridge? Or is that the same thing?
I don't think they had an answer. I think I need a new AirPod case.
The urogenital ridges are the common precursors of the urinary and gonadal.
I didn't double check, but the gonadal ridge is the precursor. Like that. I'm confused on the question.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just doing more research into. Yeah, I'm kind of more well versed in, so I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding everything correctly. I'm literally reading the textbook you guys sent me.
What textbook?
What?
What textbook?
Mommy.
I thought you were reading the textbook of Buff Jesus.
Oh, I need to get the Bible for that one. I don't think that one came in a textbook.
Actually, it does, and I'm writing it. See, everybody got the story of Jesus wrong. Don't even know where they got the Christ part from. His name was Jesus Jones. He was a 16-pack abbed man, completely ripped, by the way. I mean, he was actually, a lot of people don't know this, but he was omnisexual. Yeah, he was omnisexual, meaning that he would literally fuck anything and everything.
I was really not hearing this story for months.
Anyways, how did the conversation with Val end? Because I fell asleep and no one answered.
Oh yeah, so we it came down to basically feelings, and she's like, oh well, I don't like being called. And she's like the shitty pack in. I'm shitty pack. I'm screaming. What? 60 pack.
Answer.
I'm. What? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, but we were basically just having a conversation, and then we just reached a conclusion where she's like, all right, I'm gonna do more reading. I'm gonna do more research, and I'm like, okay, great. Um, she basically we ended it off on a good note.
Okay.
She's not fully on our side, but we gave her some things. It basically came down to she's an older woman, you know, a middle-aged woman, and she's just confused about how a lot of the things are nowadays. One of her bigger gripes was like, why are people calling her a cisgender woman? She's just a woman. And we're like, well, that, you know, I try to explain like, hey, that's just that's just the science and medical term for somebody whose gender identity aligns with their sex assigned at birth. She kind of understood that, but you know, she's like, well, why don't we just call them women? And I'm like, well, that's fine. And then Karkar asked a good question. She goes, well, are you going to be logically consistent if a transgender woman wants to be just called a woman instead of a trans woman? Would you be okay with that? Would you just call them a woman? To her credit, she goes, yeah, I'll just call them a woman. I'm like, oh, well, at least she's consistent. But yeah.
Well, as long as it ended positively.
It did. It was a really long conversation, but today we've been blessed to have really good conversations, actually.
Oh, God.
We had a good one with IG. And then who was the person before Val? We had another good one before Val. I don't remember, but because I think even when the GCs came in here, even the ones that disagree with us, even they weren't saying anything bad about us. So like, see that's what I like. It's like, oh, 1 second, I have cocksucking mother. Ah, fuck.
What's your
Oh my god.
personality?
Ah, that was my knee.
Are you okay?
Oh, just the landing gear hates me.
Rip Kinder's knee.
Oh my, I just hear that from the
R.I.P.
background and I feel so bad.
Ow. Oh, it's not the worst injury I've gotten from this.
That's not a good thing.
Ah, I'll be fine. I'll spit on it later. Okay, I'm done.
The weirdest guess I heard, because I was at work. I had my pocket listening. That Jalen girl. She fucking.
She's like just doped out of the debate. I'll be back in specifically 2 days.
You're on live every day. I'll just come.
Like, what the fuck is this girl? The Ring? Hello? She's like the fucking Samara of debate. Like, I'll be back in 2 days. Okay.
I wasn't there for that one, but that's interesting.
No, she literally was like, just in the middle of having a debate, like, look, I'll be back in 2 days. You better prepare. Like, what?
Hey, all you have to do is make a copy of that tape and give it to someone else. Then, then your problem is done.
Could you? We should make that a fucking meme. It's just be like, yeah, you have to you get somebody to watch it, then suddenly Jay will just appear on somebody's live in the next 2 days. I'm here to debate trans issues.
That
What?
was such a fucking weird interaction. She was like, "You're on every day. I'll be back in a few days," and then she just left.
What was her stance?
Well, obviously that
she
trans
was-
women aren't women, but
She was obviously very, very
That doesn't
Christian.
limit it down because there's a lot of stances you can have on that.
She took it in the way she said that it's not in a woman's nature to
it's the nature argument.
not have what the fuck was it?
It was in a woman's nature to give birth and have these things. Like, no.
Huh?
And she was going to start using her religion, and then I told her, like, hey, I'm sorry, but we can't have a conversation, because then you're going to have to It wasn't Jada. It was Jay, unless that's
It-
one of her alternate accounts.
Yeah. No, that was just the weirdest thing. I've heard the nature argument once.
I've heard it quite a few times. I still do lives on it, but not as frequent as I did before. I did a lot of lives on women's healthcare. I still do them. I hear the nature argument quite a bit because a lot of the issues I talk about with women's healthcare is hysterectomies. I need to get one myself, and there's a couple of women I know who needed them and have gotten them, and it was like hell to get one. A lot of people will have a lot of things to say against that for some reason. Well, their reason is because women or females specifically should have kids, but yeah.
No one owes you children.
Oh wait, what about that?
It's such a weird
I'm not confused.
thing.
I was speaking. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Val. Val said that she was speaking her opinion. She's not confused. I'm sorry, Val. I mischaracterized. My apologies, dear.
So I have met people who are like, it's a woman's job to have kids, and I'm like, that's such a weird stance to have.
It's extremely sexist.
Yes.
Exactly, it is. They're like, I want a traditional woman. I want the woman to stay home. And like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah. Next time they do that, be like, yeah, no, I want a traditional man that makes at least 500K.
Yeah, no, they get really mad when you mention that you want like a 6-foot guy. They get
I
really
want a guy who's around near my height, in leather, and can ride a motorcycle. That is what I want.
Yeah. No, that's like, Lolia. You just gotta have to be like, all right. So you know what? You're right. You know what? But what a man needs to be 6 foot tall. He's got to have at least a bare minimum of 200, like $250,000 on average. It can't be less than that. And then also his schlong size, his dick size, has got to be no less than 6 inches.
I mean,
watch them like get angry.
I already got one of those. I got a man in leather. My husband. But still, I would love a bike. My husband.
Wait, and Lola. The best part is, like, on top of all those things, and he can be like, oh, and he's got to be pure. He's got to be a virgin.
Oh my god,
just to throw it on top.
Have you heard of the fucking men who are like, I want a virgin, and then it's like, they talk about how they're not a virgin, and it's just the funniest shit in the world. We're like, how do you want a virgin, but you're also not? I don't understand.
So this might be TMI.
They talk about being pure. Are they fucking the men?
This might be TMI. Right. So this might be too much information, but as somebody who's kind of experienced, I can tell you right now, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're saying that they want a pure virgin. Trust me. Nope. That is way more fun with people with experience.
Are they? No,
Oh, hey, look, we got somebody joining finally.
About how they want someone that's pure and shit, but they're not pure, and then they're like, I want a pure woman. The way they talk about it, they describe this imaginary woman as a literal child. It's weird. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Iranian. Can I get your age and pronouns?
20, they, them.
Oh, okay. So, what's your take on the...
I don't know why people don't find trans women to be women. Quite frankly, they look pretty... yeah. To the people who say trans women are women, promptly go and I will toss you in the garbage disposal.
Can I toss them in the grinder and the only thing that comes out of their eyeball? They're probably...
Well, that's got dark fast.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on. What if you're talking about conservatives? Conservatives are already on Grindr. What?
No, like I said, trash compactor. Trash compactor, I meant.
They're definitely on Grindr.
Oh. Well, I heard somebody said let's put them in a grinder. I'm like, well, they're
No,
already
I
on
said
grinder.
no. I said a
Hello.
meat. I was doing a German reference. If I thought you had a meat grinder, and anything comes out your eyeball, you're probably gonna
You know
lie.
what's thing, right? I don't really use Grindr.
German reference.
Grindr is just not really my type of thing, you know, when it comes to that type of content. I like the hub. Am I basic? Yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
mean,
It's
like,
banned in my state.
No, thank
All right. So
wait,
let's
Loa, let me guess. You live in
I feel
Florida,
like
right?
we. Oh my God.
What?
Guys, let's get back to it.
Well,
I
let's
had
do
to
that.
change the trailer, so we were kind of in intermission. But if you're gonna be up here, let's do some mock debates, so that way people can get familiar, get a little bit of knowledge in. Iranian, what's your stance? If somebody says a woman is an adult human female and that anything else is just incorrect, what are you gonna say?
Wait, if a woman, I'm sorry, you kind of speak. Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
A woman is an adult human female. Why do you believe that a transgender woman could ever be a woman?
Why do I believe a transgender woman could ever be a woman? If they look feminine, if they act feminine, if they behave feminine, then there's no, I don't see no reason for them not to be a woman.
So then a woman is just full of a bunch of stereotypes to you?
Yes, because even in the field of biology, right? When they bring the biology stuff, like as if they ever even opened a biology textbook, like here's the thing, right? For example, like clownfish, right? Clownfish literally are gender fluid. They change their genders when certain situation is needed. Male seahorses literally get like impregnate and do that stuff, right?
All right, go ahead, Mama.
Oh, mama.
Wait, I'm sorry. I sort of thought it was like the person was going to speak. I was confused.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought mama was gonna speak.
This is gonna be. I think Mama wanted to say something. Mama, you there?
Hello.
Hello.
She's asleep again.
She's eeping. She's eeping. Let's not
Oh,
wake her.
I thought she was trying to talk. I saw her box light
The,
up.
the missile is very tired. He's EP. The missile took a little very long, sweet. You know what I mean? That's a funny meme.
Yeah, I like that meme.
Anyway, well, back to it. All right, so yeah, here's the thing though: is that you're talking about clownfish. We're talking about humans, and humans
Yeah, but
we
I'm.
can define. Oh.
But I'm talking like even in the subject of biology, when it comes to like trans individuals, it can apply also in biology, you know, on different species, different because because every transphobe I ever talked to always bring up like either like different other animals and other species and trying to say that like nature has always been hetero, and while yes, it is the case, there are many other species that just don't follow that rule, or they don't follow being like a solid like heterogender. They could be literally just gender fluid. There are just some creatures who are just gender fluid. There are some animals who are.
How do
Yes.
animals have gender? You believe that sex and gender are the same?
Okay, how do I say this? Yes and no. At times, yes, and sometimes no. It all depends on it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the environment. It depends on a lot of the situation that it is, you know.
How do you define gender, and how is it different than sex then?
I define I don't really know how to say that type of stuff. I'm not very I know the answer, but I just don't really know how to say the answer for the explanation for the proper explanation for it. There's other people who are like me who can explain it far better than I could. You know.
All right. So the argument that you made, I'm not going to lie, is extremely bad. Don't use that argument in a conversation, because animals besides humans don't have gender. They don't recognize gender. They don't see, like, for example, cows don't see cows and bulls. They don't see the gender. Like they roughly have an understanding of sex, but even then it's tenuous.
Yeah, it's not really a survival thing. Animals run on survival rather than just, you know, preference, you know.
There's that. And there's biomechanical mechanisms that are in place.
Yeah.
that like pheromones in the air and how like they can tell when other animals are so on and so forth. So those are going to be things like how animals can distinguish sex, but they don't distinguish gender. Because in humans, and this is the key thing, is like when somebody says sex and gender thing, you go no, because even under my worldview, you're going to say, Mr. Kinder Potato, you understand that sex and gender are different because you're using adult human plus female in order to make this gender. So how could woman and female be the same thing if you're having to describe a woman as an adult human female?
Interesting.
Okay. So
Interesting.
yeah, I wouldn't go outside of the human species because quite frankly, you're gonna get wrecked if you go outside of the human species. It's too
Yeah,
much.
just that a
It's
lot of
very
these people, a lot of those people like to pull the biology card every time. They like to pull the bio card, as if they have. I'm saying like again, as if they ever opened a bio textbook in their life. Like I'm majoring in biology in college. Like, you know what I mean?
well. And then you should, if you major in biology, then you should be able to already take on their biological arguments and dismantle them. Because their
Well,
biological arguments are not actually rooted in biology, or not actually rooted in good faith biology. They're very
yeah.
selective.
Well, that I know. I just don't know how to put the words together. Like I have the answer. You know when you have the answer, but you can't put the words together to form a proper sentence. That's my situation when it comes to that.
I
You
get
know?
it. Yep, and that's what we're here, kind of talking over. So, like for example, if they're saying a woman is an adult human female, the better question to ask then is what is a female? Because that's the biological aspect that they're going to focus on. And they're going to give you a variety of definitions of a female, and then you can pick that definition apart. Because 99.99999% of people, not even Nate or Christy, seem to know what the fuck a female is.
So how come we're the only species that can identify, like, of course, understand gender, but how come animals outside that are not human can't? Why?
Because
How
we
come we're
have.
the only uniqueness?
You know what? Actually, how about Alyssa? How about you describe that? This is your field.
Sorry, what?
Oh, are you sleeping too?
I'm dozing off a little bit. What was the question?
All right, go ahead and ask the question again, there, Iranian.
How come we, the human species, are the only ones to identify gender compared to, say, other animals outside of, let's say, I can guess you say the primate or the Homo sapien species? How come we're the only ones that are like that?
Because our brains are a lot more complicated than other some animals and other species. So as of right now, there is no other species that we know of that actually has some kind of a gender identity. We know that they have sexual drives and instincts and stuff like that, but nothing really indicating a gender identity. We also know that they have. We can say that animals who have both hetero and homosexual tendencies, but again, that's not really pointing at gender identity. Gender identity, as far as what science and research indicates, is something that only we as humans have.
Because like I was thinking to myself, like another species that's the closest to us is like our primates, like like chimpanzees, gorillas, like both silverback and orangutan, stuff like that. Primates like that are the very distant ancestors. I'm thinking to myself about that. Do they have? They're pretty intelligent. They're not low level intelligent. They're pretty decently intelligent. So the question is, how intelligent can a species like us be to classify a gender, like understand gender? And has there any? I wonder if well, this is a me thing, but I wonder is there any studies where have primates be able to identify gender? Like, has anyone like in the biological field run studies on stuff like that? Because I find that interesting. Like how smart and
No.
intelligent can they be to identify stuff like this complex?
Yeah, again, we don't really have those kind of studies. The other really important aspect for us to be able to run those studies is to understand their language, and again, we don't really have a way of being able to do that. And so The only other thing we could try and go off of, which would be something like play behaviors, and this is something that even
Or on Netflix. Y'all seen that yet?
mm-mm.
Oh, it's really good. It's like super good. But my head canon is that the creature, or in my head canon, he names himself Adam. Adam, the monster, the Frankenstein's monster. He doesn't name himself. He's not a creature. I like to, in my head canon, is like he calls himself Adam, right? And I believe that like in my head canon, he's non-binary or gender fluid. If you really think about, like the creature's whole origin, he technically is non-binary. He doesn't have a gender. He literally was just made by human parts, human and animal parts. So he really doesn't have. May look male, but he doesn't really have a gender, really, in my head canon. I don't know if you guys agree with. I don't know if, like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, I don't know if people agree with me or not.
I have never watched the damn thing, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I haven't seen it either, so I'm honestly incredibly confused.
What's the?
But anyway, let's get this back on track.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's just something that you want. So, let's see here. Lola, you're next.
I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, how dare you leave?
I'm sorry. I want to watch my YouTube and go to sleep.
All right, you
I
go
don't
watch
have
your
work
YouTube and go to sleep.
tomorrow, so I get to chill.
By the way, you guys had 4 crash outs on this panel.
Oh, that's nothing.
Low.
Wait, you must at least tell me one tale of a crash out you had today that you had to deal with. I must hear the tale.
Honestly, those crash outs were just like one of the crash outs was literally that J girl just being like, "I'll be back in 2 days."
I'll be back in 2 days.
What?
What the heck are they doing in 2 days? Like, what they do? Like finding the lost sword of Excalibur?
Maybe she'll look.
I don't know, and I don't know why it's exactly 2 days. Like, it's like I'll be back later. Not like I'll be back tomorrow. Like,
I'll be back in 2 days.
That sounds like the Ring, where it's like 7 days.
It's so specific. No, it's so specific because like that she also kind of insulted you when she said it. She was like, "You're live every day." I'll come back.
That's like the opposite of never mind.
If she knows that you're live every day, then what is she doing?
That means that
I don't know.
followed you.
I think I got a crush.
You the fan?
I got a fan.
Fan or maybe a creepy stalker. Could be one of the two.
Wait,
stalker
a girl stalking me for once? Yes. How the turns have tabled.
Okay, but like, I don't know. Like, be careful what you wish for, dude. Be careful what you wish. I'm just gonna say, be careful what you wish for.
I don't mind as long as I'm taken out by good set of thighs. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna get canceled for that.
a good night.
Okay, have a good night.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was in a different panel, and this random, like, very obviously neckbeard redditor came into one that was like literally belittling me and like a bunch of other people, spouting some very obvious anti-LGBTQ stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself like, anti-LGBT, that's effing stupid.
Imagine how I feel.
And I'm like, wow. I was kind of like, you know, like, you know that meme where like where like you see you're able to time travel and you see your past self and you're like a really bad person and you kind of just put your head to the side and you're like in of embarrassment of a shame, you're like ooh type thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was me. I was like,
All right,
man.
hey, I want to do it. Oh,
Kinda,
yeah.
we lost
So,
you.
Alyssa,
Yeah,
Alyssa,
yeah.
debate me.
Offense or defense?
Defense, because I suck at. To be honest, the defense is my weakest.
Okay. So, what is a woman?
I'd be an adult.
Okay, so a person who feels they're a woman?
No, that's grossly simplifying it. I said gender identity. Do you know what gender identity is?
Well, that's just how you feel, right? Like what you just identify as, is it not?
No, because again, do you just do you just like make your heart feel like that it wants to beat? Do you just make your digestive system feel like it wants to start turning food, or does these things happen automatically and they're a part of you? They're innate.
Okay. So it's innate. So what if I feel well that what if someone felt like they were innately a giraffe? Would that make them a giraffe?
A draft, like the wind draft,
No, like a
or like a
giraffe, like an
giraffe.
animal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, because again, the difference is that gender identity is literally referring to a biological component of our brain. So it's often referred to as a biopsychosocial. And that bio part is referring to the brain anatomy, specifically a unique brain phenotype that has been correlated with transgender individuals. Uh, that we can actually see that there's going to be um, pattern recognizable pattern differences that are going to be unique from cisgender men and cisgender women. So, can you show me in the brain where these pattern differences will be for like somebody believing that they
Wait,
are a giraffe?
I think I've heard of these before. Are you talking about the BNST?
Nope, not just the BNST, because there's a lot of other parts of the brain that we can see that
Or
play
like
a
the
factor.
different parts of like the hypothalamus and the BSTC?
No, there's still other parts, but those are parts that we can look at as well.
You're aware that the BNST studies have been debunked, right?
Really? Do you have proof on
Yeah,
that?
like you can't trust him. Like Dr. Dick Schwab, he's had multiple papers redacted, and so because of that, you can't trust any of his studies, and all the sample sizes are less than 20.
Okay, again, the sample size is an interesting thing, and I'll get back to that for in a second. But yeah, having papers being redacted is a kind of a normal thing that happens in science, and that just means that the peer-reviewed process is working. So if he still has papers up that are peer-reviewed, has deemed them to have accurate information that is going to be able to be kept up on like places of PubMed. So I get it that there's going to be some papers that might be taken down from him because they didn't meet the scrutiny from other peers. But then that just shows that the actual evidence that we do have that is still out there from him has been peer reviewed and does stand up to the criteria that is needed in order for it to be considered legit evidence. Now,
Okay,
when it
well,
comes
how do you
to like
account
the
for the
sample size,
small
we also have to
sample
take.
size?
What are we already looking at? Individuals are there compared to the broader population?
You cut out for like a good 5 seconds.
Oh, sorry. I said, how? What is the sample size? Or you said something about the sample size. So I said, uh, um, fuck, what is it? Yeah. What is going to be the amount of yeah, the small sample size is going to be correlated to like the how little there are of transgender individuals already. So, like, do you know how many transgender individuals are part of our population?
It's like not even a percentage, right?
Exactly. So finding individuals to be able to be available and to participate in these studies is going to be a hard thing to do. Also, keep in mind in the BNST studies, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm actually being legitimate here, Alyssa. But in those BNST studies, I believe they weren't alive for those ones. So you would need to actually like get access to somebody who has been recently unalived or is unalived in order to get access to doing studies on their brain. It's going to be kind of hard to get samples for that.
Yep, that's correct. They're all post-mortem in regards to the BNSC and BSCC studies. You're right on spot with that.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. Was like you not only have to find transgender individuals, they would also have to be unalived, and then you have to go through a lot of other stuff to get them to be subjects in this study. The fact that they had that many to begin with is actually quite impressive.
Well, weren't those transgender patients like treated with hormones already, and don't hormones have like an effect on the brain? Like, how do you know it wasn't just the hormones?
Honestly, I don't know that one off the top of my head. I don't know if they had any hormones in their body when they did that one. So to be honest, Alyssa, I don't know that part of that study.
Here, want me to educate you on that part?
Yes, yes, please.
Alrighty, so they are right. A lot of the older studies done by Dick Schwab, a lot of the transgender patients in those ones have been transgender patients who are or who have been treated with hormones. But what they were also able to do was take cisgender individuals who also had hormonal conditions where they also had to be on some kind of HRT, and then they also had the the control group. And what they found was that hormones actually didn't play all that big of a influence on the BNST, or at least not as much as they originally thought. It literally has to be during the pubescent stage, or when you actually start puberty. But anything after that, again, they found very little difference in cisgender individuals on hormones affecting their BNSTs compared to that of transgender individuals. And thus hence why modern day studies, we're very, very strict on making sure that when we do any kind of studies on the brain in regards to transgender individuals, we have to make sure that they are non-hormonally treated. Thus hence why the mega analytic studies that we have nowadays were conducted in that manner.
Okay, so if somebody says that, then the retort there is to be like, well, they have been on hormones, but we don't see that the hormones play that much of it. They don't impact the BNST to a great extent.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Cool beans. Oh wait, Mama, are you back?
Yep. And it's really important to bring up the cisgender people that they tested that in, because if it was to be true that hormones did play that big of an influence, we would have seen the same changes in the cisgender control at the cisgender patients with the hormonal conditions in comparison with the cisgender control group.
I see. So yeah, because they did a control group with normal cisgender. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that part. You see, like I said, uh, that that's the reason why, like, even though this is my position that I run, I come to like a different or sorry, even though this is the definition that I believe in, uh, what I said to Val earlier was my genuine reason why I stick with this position, even though like I may not be able to defend it as well as you can, is because that at the end of the day, that is going to be like the one uniting factor that all women on Earth is going to have. Well, besides being an adult and being human, would be having a gender identity that aligns with the female sex. That to me was the strongest, most persuasive part there, because I'm constantly trying to think what's the thing that all these things need in order to be categorized. I think instead of like, I think that's the thing that needs to be met in order to be considered a woman, because that's literally going to be the one unifying thing that makes women women, in my opinion. But again, I don't know if
Oh,
that's necessarily
absolutely.
yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the most persuasive argument to a gender critical, but to somebody who's open minded, I think that is.
Yeah, well, I think once you've broken down their worldview and all that, like really gotten them to wake up to reality, and then open them up to neuroscience, then everything just starts falling together like really, really easily. It's like when you have a 1,000-piece puzzle, how it's all really, really confusing at first, and it's easier just to reference a box as what the puzzle is supposed to look like. But when you actually force them to engage with the puzzle and to start piecing things together, and then once you've gotten them to put the edges together and start working their way towards the center, once we've hit the neurobiology route, that right there is where it's going to be all like, oh, I can actually see this coming together. This fits here, this fits here, this fits here. Oh, there's the picture. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right. So let's continue. Let's just say that I
Oh,
said like,
thank
okay,
you.
well, Izzy's so good. Anyway, so like, yeah, let's
This
say
is
like
amazing.
I did reply back to you and I said, okay, well, they did a control. She is. Uh, all right. So like, we did a control group of cisgender individuals, and we saw that the BNST area was not affected much by the hormones. So for like, it wasn't enough to uh, disqualify the findings.
Yep. And those findings are still incredibly relevant up until we have going on today, of which this is where I'm gonna start typically bringing up more relevant studies, more up-to-date studies, which is typically going to be done with fMRI machines, which is going to be more referencing the cortical area and the gray and white matter volumes of different regions of the brain. That right there is where they're extremely, extremely strict, saying absolutely no the puberty blockers, no nothing. And you have to have gone through a natal puberty, such as what we find in smaller studies, such as brain sex and transgender woman is shifted towards gender identity, along with a whole bunch of other studies, and then all the analytic findings where they also really, really nitpicked the age of the sample group that they were testing, the making sure that no one was on puberty blockers, HRT, or any kind of medications that may affect that. And then even further to making sure.
I see. All right.
So Alrighty. So, with that being said, well, why don't you say that gender identity is still incredibly subjective, like it's a soft science, right? So we can't really hold that to be a standard.
No, it's not a soft science because we can see that it has correlations to biology. Are you going to deny that transgender individuals have a unique brain phenotype? If so, I can give you studies that show this.
Sure, what studies?
That would be the mega analytical study that you would typically throw out.
Oh.
And the reason why I'm throwing this one out is because, and the reason why this is really applicable is because this does meet the statistical power of 80, and it's at the highest tippy top point of empirical evidence that we can use to use this towards a broader population. So even though you want to say this isn't a hard science, well, science disagrees with you. If this wasn't backed up in hard biology, then you're gonna have to take it up with the professionals, not us.
Okay, well, I thought this was just a review. This isn't just a actual study, right?
No, it's literally it has like all the studies that they're reviewing in there, and this has been like you said, it's a review. It's a mega analytical review. So literally, this had the chance to be dissected 5 ways from Sunday. Every person in here has been able to take this and apply this, see if there's any flaws with their arguments. If there was any flaws that would have been taken apart of immediately. Also, let's make sure that we're being extremely clear here. There was another part that you always mentioned. Fuck, I'm forgetting it. You mentioned how it's a peer-reviewed study. You mentioned how oh yeah, they're extremely strict on this as mega analytical finding. They're strict on the people who are there. They're strict on the findings. They're only making sure that people who were in these reviews were people who weren't on hormones, who had no way of affecting the result from external means.
Okay, so I'm reading into this a little bit further. It says that transgender people don't have a male brain or a female brain, though. Like, if you're gonna say that their gender identities are going to be aligned with the male sex or the female sex, shouldn't their brain be male or female and
Well,
look
that's
more similar to that of a biological male or a biological female?
well, okay. I agree with you. Their brains are not going to be male or female. That's true because, quite frankly, there's no such thing as a male or female brain. So our brains are not binary; they're bimodal. It's a bimodal distribution. And we can see typical patterns that we can see with a typical male or typical female. However, our brains are actually more of a mosaic. And what we see is that transgender individuals have a phenotypical pattern. They have a pattern that's going to be different than a typical pattern that we see with males or that we see with females.
Okay, so how does that correlate to gender identity? And also, like, I thought correlation doesn't equal causation.
All right. So what equal? So how do we have psychology? How does our brain function? We will need
How
we
does
need
our
a
brain function?
yeah, like how when you're thinking right now, right? We're talking, right? How are we doing all this? Is it because that we have a functioning brain? We have a brain that has connections in it. We have a brain that's making synapses. We have a brain that has a phenotype that's literally in charge of our life. That you are who you are,
Sure,
not just because.
but like,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, sure, but like, I can make choices, so I can still choose to be a man if I wanted to, right?
No, you can't choose that much like you can't choose your heart beating or your digestive system working. So let me break this down a little bit. So the reason why gender identity does that, why we can
Wait, are you trying to say as part of the autonomic nervous system?
You know, honestly, Alyssa, I've seen some studies that reference that it's part that gender is part of the autonomic nervous system. Then I also see some that says it's not. So I'm not 100% sure if that's an even argument I could use.
Don't use it. That's the short answer there. You can say that there's theories and strong hypotheses to that, but it's not something you want to use.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I saw some evidence for it, but then like I saw that others like steered away from it. So no, but I'm still going to reference other things that are innate, because again, you can't help the fact the way your brain is structured. You can't help the fact the way that you have a unique brain phenotype, and because we experience life through literally everything goes through our brain. Of course, it's going to correlate that a unique brain phenotype would equal a unique psychology, and when
Yeah.
obviously this is going to impact the way that we see ourselves in the world that we live.
Yep. What could actually help you out here, and I've actually seen you use this in the past without you realizing it, which I absolutely loved. But reference somosensory cortex and the motor cortex, not so much in regards to gender identity per se, but in regards to things such as phantom pains, and then how studies show that transgender people also experience what are known as trans phantoms, and then correlate that back to gender identity and how gender identity is for a transgender person is going to be opposite of the sex they were assigned with at birth. That right there would be a stronger argument, because you're not saying that gender identity is going to be found directly in these, but what we can say is that we know the parts of the brain that is in charge of knowing what are her of having the map of our body is, how that influences people with phantom pains who are born without limbs or were amputees, and then showing the same system being at work in regards to how the brain actually functions and recognizes itself in the same way for transgender people.
All right, gotcha. Like yeah, just like reference the internalized map of our body, and like how even people who have lost limbs, they can still have a sense of where their arms are, where their limbs were supposed to be or should be there, even though they're not there anymore. Gotcha.
Yep, and the part that I really liked to use the other day, of which I've actually he started using this a little bit more often, is again having them do kind of like a actual experiment with you, where you have them close their eyes and then put their hand in a random position without it touching anything or hurt anything like that, and how they would know exactly where their hand is without them being able to see it. You know, the position it's in and stuff like that. Because that right there would be in a direct reference to our motor sensory and somo sensory cortex.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. Honestly, this, like I said before, this is probably the weakest area, and I'm glad that I had that, because I just want to make sure that I'm getting my argument. How do you think I did so far, though?
Yeah, you're doing really, really good. Again, neuroscience and neuropsychology is incredibly complex, but it's a heck of a lot of fun once you start getting into it. And I guess the same thing could go into like biology and stuff like that. But again, I'm a freaking neuroscience nerd, so I'm gonna nerd out.
Nope. That's why we love having you, because this is a really important. Because that's honestly. Oh, Seth is back. Hey, Seth. Welcome back up.
How are you?
Welcome back, Seth.
How you guys doing?
Good.
All
How are
right.
you?
I'm all right. Still alive. Still breathing. Had a long day of work today, so a little tired. I just had a quick question. I'm not sure if I asked it yesterday, Alyssa. With the Phantom Pains, I'm not sure if I asked. Since I guess because me right? Are you guys still able to hear me? Sorry, someone just tried calling me.
Oh, yeah, I can still hear you.
All right, awesome. So how is the body able to have those like nerve like sensations and like experiences phantom pains if it's like something that was never there? How does it even have those like kind of nerves like made? I guess. If that makes sense.
So it has less to do with the actual physical nerves that are going to be there, and more with how the brain was already mapped and wired. So it's going to be trying to send signals to nerves that are not actually there. So, for instance, again, someone who was born without limbs, but they can still feel the sensation of limbs being there or something being there, her without it actually being there, is kind of that same thing. So, let's say someone who was born without a leg, for instance. Like, they never had that leg to begin with. They don't know what it feels like to have that leg, because, again, it's not there. But they can still sometimes feel experiences or sensations of something being there without it actually being there.
Okay. Now a question to that, because I just feel like the neurological aspect thing is like so incredibly detailed and like complex. I feel like that's like the biggest question.
That's
Like
neuroscience.
biggest like yeah. So like I pretty much like in my head like everyone has limbs. You know what I mean? Well, not everyone, of course, but like biologically, like everyone has like you're supposed to always have like 10 fingers, like 10 toes, like stuff like that. Like that's how I guess like it should be. Doesn't always happen. You know what I mean?
I have 3 legs.
Oh, and Nate denotes to being legless.
Yeah, Nate notes to being legless.
Not that again.
That's
Like
what we're
to
never
breathe.
gonna let go.
Instead of
gonna be
going over to take a drink of water and suffocating because of Mr. Kinder.
Yeah. I always thought it was Kinder. Is it pronounced Kinder?
Kinder, you can call me all the above. Just don't call me late for dinner, you handsome stud.
Dang!
Anyway. Anyways, I do take a while to get ready, so you might have to wait in the car for a while. But as I was gonna say, wait, Kinders, is the third leg the one in the middle? Is that one a little smaller?
Yeah.
Hey, did you want to give it a taste?
Wait.
This is a completely censored conversation, by the way.
The Kinder is. No, it's not the Kinder. Oh my gosh.
You started this.
Kinder, I'm actually 12 years old. The guy from yesterday, he was following me. He's been probing me. It's
Oh no.
yeah, I can't get the protection. Yep. I'm not actually 12. Oh.
Look, I'm trying to eat food.
Hey, clutching my damn pearls. I'm over here. I made that joke.
Oh, were you not here for that yesterday? The guy, the P3DO.
No. I missed a lot in 2 days, I guess.
I was not
Yeah.
here either.
Yeah, my jaw dropped when I heard that. That was right before I came in.
Yeah,
the fuck I
the guy.
missed?
Yeah, the guy said, "Well, I can't talk to her. I have to wait another what was it, 6 years before I can
Oh
marry
yeah,
her."
it was
Since they're
4
18.
wives. It was 4
Oh, that
wives.
motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Disgusting fuck.
Listen, right? You weren't here yesterday, right? So I'm just gonna spill all the beans. I'm gonna drop the pearls on the floor. The chain broke apart. Alyssa had me realize and come to the conclusion that I am technically transphobic. Which really opened my eyes on a lot of shit yesterday. Yeah. Well, technically, it's not even a technicality. I guess I am. Like, opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Taught me a lot. Yeah, it really taught me a lot of stuff. Made me see a lot of things differently now. And I thank Alyssa for that, especially.
Does that mean that you're fine with Mr. Kinder's third leg touching you?
Hey yo,
stop it.
I'll be honest, I don't swing that way, but maybe for Mr. Kinder, I'll make an exception. I don't know.
What is this conversation turned into, y'all? What are y'all doing?
I mean, yesterday they offered me a steak dinner, so I might have to.
Okay, yeah, I
change
wouldn't
for a
turn
day.
that down either.
Yeah, I might have to change for a day. I might have
Guess
to.
I'm matchmaker today.
Steak dinners are expensive. If you're taking me on one, go ahead.
Yeah, but like, hold on, Kinder. Are we talking about like some cheap skirt steak or some like A5 Wagyu?
okay, so
Ooh,
first off,
A5 Wagyu.
first off, skirt steak, even though it's cheap, you can make that taste extremely good. It's all about the technique.
Yeah, but I want
Alyssa
something
can-
that falls apart in my mouth.
Very
That
confident
sounded
in your
so
meat
bad.
skills, Mr. Kinder.
Okay, like Alyssa will back me up here. Am I right, Alyssa? Even though a skirt steak is a cheap piece of meat, if you cook it right, if you marinate it, if you can make it as tender as a any other steak, I guess.
Yeah, but Kinder, I want something like thick, juicy, falls apart in my mouth. That sounds really bad. Maybe your third leg could do that. Who knows?
Hey!
No. Wait a second. What
Okay,
you're
we've
talking
gotta
about is
stop
like the good.
leg shit.
You know
You're
what's
talking
funny?
about-
You know what's funny?
What
I'm
is
straight,
happening?
and oh my gosh, I forgot her name. I went in her live for a little bit, but then my phone cut out because I was trying to connect to my truck and it was dying. It was being really dumb. Oh my god, she was in here earlier. Or not earlier, but she was in here yesterday. Oh, I forgot her name. I'm horrible with names. I'm really bad with names.
Her name is and she was here yesterday.
Yeah. Well. Anyways, she was saying that what's it called? Because I was talking about how like when you go into the guy's bathroom, you always leave like a stall open, or not a stall, a urinal open between another urinal. You never take that in between urinal ever. And she said, "Yeah, that's way too straight for me."
Yeah, you see,
Thought that was-
Seth, this is how I know that you and I are. This is how we know we're like people will say, okay, how do you know if you're a man? This is how you know if you're a man, is if you have the common courtesy to leave a stall in between like the urinal section. It is diabolical. It is like literally the worst thing you can do. It's fucking war. If you like,
No, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. We're fighting. I'll
Yeah.
fight you. I'll fight you.
We're fighting.
For
I'm
a question, what
I'm
happens
pissing on your shoe.
if someone
I'm
takes
pissing
that
on your
middle?
shoe.
What happens
If
if someone
if
takes
what-
that middle urinal, but they're bigger
You're-
than both of y'all?
It doesn't
Inside
matter. It doesn't
and down
matter.
there. Do you
It
just
doesn't matter.
stand there?
It doesn't. Listen. It does not matter. You're an asshole. Okay. I hope both sides of your pillow. I hope your whole fucking bed is hot, not warm. Not like how they say. I hope both sides of your pillow warm. I hope that shit is fucking hot, like boiling water hot when you go to bed at night.
He's right,
Right?
though.
This is interesting.
I hope when you wake up in your morning, I hope that your girlfriend, you wake up and you smell something good and you find out she was frying your penis for lunch.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
At least it smelled good.
Boiling Jersey? Oh, damn.
Anyways, back to what I was asking earlier. 'cause you went
Wait,
very
actually,
off
hold on
topic.
just real quick. The talent you'll need to make human smell yummy is crazy.
I mean, who they made a Netflix show off of him. Jeffrey Dahmer. He did it.
They never said it really smelled yummy.
The smell was really bad, but like in order to like remove that smell, you got to do a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to make that happen.
Well, you can remove smell out of a lot of things, like onions. Like I'm not sure if like you. And I fell in love with Kinder because he offered a steak dinner.
That's all you need to do.
You know what? They said the pussy is true.
See. This is relationships. It's because they know how to please men, right?
Men know what men want.
Yeah.
I'm going to hell.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think women ever know what women want. My mother never knows what she wants.
Oh no, I don't think you can cook dinner where Kinder is at right now.
No. I was gonna make a joke saying to Kinder that my brain phenotype is telling me I'll let him use SVJ.
What the fuck?
What the hell is SBJ?
A Lamborghini SVJ.
Oh.
Is that what summoned you?
He heard I let him use his. He got excited.
Oh my god.
You know what he doesn't know is that the third leg is actually a third leg that just hangs. Anyway, like
Oh my
it has
God, we
toes
can-
and everything, so
We
just,
can
just
see
make sure
part
you're
of
aware.
Kinder's. We can see part of Kinder's head. Oh my gosh.
Oh no, that is the
I thought you were making a
thingamajig.
fucking joke.
My phone holder.
I did not think you were being serious.
Oh.
Hmm.
I want to.
Anyway,
I want to know if Kinder will still think I'm a stud if he saw the way I looked.
Oh, of course.
Look him up and down, kind of.
Hold on. This is the first time my face has ever been on camera. You're about to be graced right now, Kinder.
I'm ready to roast you.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, sure.
Yes.
Ready to roast you, Daisy? Don't be. Daisy, you fucking suck at being a wingman. Just saying. I'm here to roast
We
you.
have the same eyes.
Seth, you're actually kind of cute.
Oh.
Ah, you
Like damn.
you handsome
The
bastard.
haircut
You.
is
Look at that jawline.
The haircut is interesting, but everything else is pretty nice.
I do admire the jawline.
Look at that sharp jawline.
I envy it.
You can
Damn.
cut Mr. Kinder with it.
Yeah, you could cut diamonds with that thing.
Jesus Christ.
Stop it.
Hey, Kinder. I got a question. Little Nesquik
Yes.
date.
What a Nesquik? Yeah. Wait, no, that's chocolate. The fuck's wrong with you? That's strawberry. The fuck is wrong with you?
Hey, Kinder. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you get to take me on that date after saying the strawberry Nesquik is better than chocolate.
I like chocolate.
No, dude, strawberry's the better one.
I've never been turned off so quickly in my life now.
To Alyssa, she likes
Never been
chocolate.
turned off.
I love the strawberry.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all guys are fiends for fucking liking that strawberry shit. Ooh.
Not the what the fuck?
You know what's crazy is this is my fourth one of the day.
How
Well,
much
actually, if
fucking
I drink
Nesquik
this,
have
it'll
you
be okay.
had?
Well,
feel being able to digest
I've also
lactose.
drank
Ooh.
two of these Yoo-Hoos today, so technically I have 6 chocolate milks.
So you
Maybe I think
love
Seth
chocolate.
likes
I
chocolate
gotcha.
milks.
How
think
do
he
you
likes
drink
chocolate,
that
yeah.
much?
I mean, I also drink like a gallon and a half of water a day too, and then some
Okay,
Gatorades.
that's better than just all that Nesquik.
But like, it's only 250 calories, so it's not that bad.
Only 250 calories.
You know what? As someone who needs to actually get my calories up, I might do Nesquik.
You just reminded me, I gotta eat a snack. Gotta have the fatty bar.
Cause I can't keep weight.
So, Kinder.
What do you what are you a Snickers man? You prefer Snickers or are you just a nut bar?
I'm a Snickers guy.
Stare into my eyeballs, boy.
No, what is happening?
I once spent an entire live on Mr. Kinder's live just race baiting people with facial expressions. That one was great. Brad was fucking amazing.
A part of me wants to go on my other account and then act like a crash out just so this live goes nuts.
Oh,
Yeah,
I actually
usually it's
can.
gonna be ending
In
here in
fact,
like
I
5
think
minutes
my
anyway.
fake account's in here right now too.
Take care.
No, because like
Oh,
I
wait,
feel like if
never
I
mind,
did
maybe
it,
it's not.
because like if you like say, because here's the thing, then more and more people will start making comments, and then TikTok will start pushing the live, and then people are going to start clicking the live, and they're going to have more people that want to fucking talk crap. So then more and more people comment and join in, and then it just pushes the live.
The person in the comment section completely like randomly onto topic. So disagreement does not mean hate. We put meanings into words. The majority of people who do not like trans people are transphobic, and they do genuinely hate the trans community for being different or just overall being something that they completely disagree with.
Yeah.
And instead of like full on focusing on that and actually dealing with that shit themselves, they end up taking it out on the community, convincing themselves that they do not hate them, and they go on their way to make it look their trans community's life a living hell. So yeah, I mean, disagreements are disagreements. But there's a huge separation between a disagreement that you don't want to resolve and let fester and full-on hatred towards somebody for existing. My cat is running around with a bag stuck to her head. What the fuck?
Hey, that's not fair.
But I agree with you on that one, Daisy.
You put me in a majority. What the fuck?
Are you trying to learn?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's no longer hatred when you try to learn.
Yeah, I guess. But
You're actually trying to better yourself instead of hating on people.
To be fair, mostly because he's got a sharp jawline, and mine literally looks like it's made out of pudding. So I do hate him for that. How dare he be handsome?
I do envy his jawline too. I look like a pudgy little hamster.
I thought you
Nah,
were
give
gonna
me your
say you
fucking
hated-
jawline, bro. Actually,
I thought you were
could
gonna
be
say you
Giga Chad with
hate
that
me
shit.
because of what I said yesterday.
I don't know what you said yesterday. I was not there.
What things did you say yesterday?
So Alyssa asked me the question, right? I'm not sure if Alyssa remembers when she asked me. So, because she asked me, well, do you want to have kids in your life? And I said, yeah, I would like to have kids. And then she's like, okay, cool. And then she asked, well, say you're with someone that's like a cisgender woman, right? And then you found out she couldn't have kids, right? But then say you were, but like they still had a great personality and everything, all that. Like you always had a great time with them. But now say that was with someone that was trans, right? Would you, if you would still be with, because she asked me first, right? Would you be with the person that couldn't have kids? And I answered yes, right? But then she said, okay, well, what if it was someone that's trans? I then said no. And then she was like, okay, so then technically you're transphobic. And I was like, damn, I never realized. But I admitted it.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Got you going and growing. Still think you need a better haircut, but you know it can't be worse than mine. We're rocking the same bowl cut.
Listen. The hair is looking okay. Don't bully the hair.
Do you wear a hat on the daily?
I mean, I do in the morning. It's like I have.
That could explain it. Stop wearing a hat. Brush your hair. Stop wearing a hat. It's giving you bowl cut number 1. See, when you put the hat on, you can literally see the design, the separation.
Kinder, Seth, you guys freaking put me in the mood for steak when I should probably be having fish tonight.
Why fish?
I like both.
Because both are great.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
And fish is healthier.
Well, technically, yes and no. Protein-wise, the calories, fish are better. But when it comes to amino acids, a steak contains more amino acids and nutrients than a fish does.
What about a bottle of
True,
red
but
juice?
I'm
Is that
looking
gonna give me
more for
protein?
like the poly hydrates, I think that's the word for it, or the monosaturates. That's what it is: polysaturated fats and monosaturated fats.
Well, all I know is that I'm about to
The
saturate
good
Seth.
fats.
I feel like Kinder's gonna show up in my house one day and be like, "Hey, I'm here for that steak dinner date."
Oh my god.
Kinder,
Also,
I'll send you my
may
address.
still
if you
stand by
approve
your
it.
stance, but that still doesn't like remove anything I said from being true. Also, in addition to that, I noticed that you also appear to be somebody who took being cis as an insult. I'm very confused how a scientific identification that wasn't turned into a slur nor used hatefully towards the community could be something that you're offended by. How are you offended by it? I'm confused.
It's like being offended by someone saying, "Yeah, you're a Homo sapien."
Wait, who said
like,
they're offended?
The only thing they're gonna hear is homo, and they're gonna be all like, "I'm not homosexual."
Who said?
But we agree. We agree for the on the topic. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, no problem. The action stuff that would be underneath health and sex ed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Which we all
Yeah.
agree would be at an older, at that older high school level. We all agree on that. Yeah. I mean, we're not.
Yeah,
gonna
and that's
be-
what I'm saying is I just disagree with the people that say that it should be taught at a younger age, which is what I was trying to say, but then I said
Well,
ideologies.
and I
then
think I'm trying to
disrailed.
understand, like, what you mean at a younger age. Like, when I think I'm trying to clarify, what do you mean by sexuality being taught at a younger age? I think maybe that's what I need clarification on. If that's what you're trying to say, that's maybe I'm.
Yeah, so like before like K through 5, I would not okay, they hold my hand on the playground, but that's it. Like it's not that's very that's very surface
so you're
level.
talking about so you're talking about potential crushes, right? So, I can remember I probably had my first crush at 6 or 7, right? That didn't mean that there was going to be any acting upon that, obviously, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
right.
that's what I'm saying
But
is
we can we can understand that a child can have a crush, whether it be someone of the opposite sex, the same sex. We can understand that there could be that potential awareness. Doesn't mean there's going to be acting upon it. If that makes sense, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like I feel like teaching children, I agree with teaching children that possibility is okay, but I do not think that it should go any further than that until they understand, until they start going through changes within themselves and they understand
I think we can agree on that. Like, I can't imagine, just thinking in general, like, as most of us have had different experiences, but it's like, I can't imagine someone explaining to me, as a 6 or 7-year-old, more complex and that it's just a crush, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not-
And that's what I'm saying is like